Good evening, everyone, or good morning if you're over in Europe somewhere. Yeah, glasses. Oh, shit. Yeah, just got rid of that bozo. Yeah, got rid of him. He's gone. Don't have to worry. Style is here. Roy style. I hope you're dribbling, woman. Anyway, let's move on. Yes, it is. It is. Yours truly. Oh, hello, kitties here. 5 minutes is over. A long time ago. You need to be spanked for such comments. The only problem is you probably like it. That's the only problem. Wouldn't be able to get rid of you. Oh, well, we don't follow time. That's too. You want to follow rules, Richard. You're on the wrong channel if you want to follow rules. We don't follow rules in this place. Not quite dark yet here. Yeah, it's still I've drawn the curtains because otherwise by the time things go dark, it's already his bedtime. It's 8 o'clock, 8:10. You go early to bed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just talking about topping up our car and bikes with fuel. Might do jerry cans too. Possibly. You never know. Probably not a bad idea. Working on increasing food intake, upping vitamin D levels, increasing muscle mass whilst reducing endurance aerobic. Good idea. And the other thing is add a bit more taurine just to basically let's get that myostatin inhibition even further down so you can actually put a bit more muscle on. Anyway, any help short term, Tracy? Yes, the fuel pinch. Yes, that is definitely coming. Funny how veggies and fruits and veggies are going up. Yes. The input costs are much higher. Remember the US stuff that I put up? 8.5% for seed oils and 3% for cereals, and veggies and fruit actually are more intensive, so that definitely they would go up quite a bit more. They're both labor and fuel intensive, where meat, on the other hand, has only gone up 1.1. Now, there is a bit of retail, let's say, because of demand. Meat demand has been going up in the last couple of years, but supply hasn't been there, even though the cost of producing meat has only gone up by 1.1% because it's got less petrochemical inputs. But unfortunately, if you don't have supply and demand goes up, the price can go much higher. And, hopefully we don't have, monopolistic vagoons like, take over the industry. Yes, that's when we have to worry. Well, you got Bill Gates, you've got a few other industries in Europe, a few entities in Australasia, I think in Britain as well, that are trying to kibbleize the industry. So, that's going to be the biggest problem in the future, that even though the cost of producing meat isn't that high, if you've still got supply issues, supply and demand, yeah, that's where the problem's going to lie. Yep, pretty much. Shit, New Zealand is $3, are you? Good. Yeah. Yes. Should thank your illustrious leader for basically making sure you don't explore oil, and gas. It's an awful habit, all that carbon. It's an awful habit. We can't provide carbon to basically the plants that love it, because we'd have an explosion of plant life if there was more carbon in the system. We must suppress carbon. We must do the misanthropic thing of killing off all life on this planet. Get it right, Richard. You're not with a plan, with a Jacinda plan. Your illustrious leader will hear this and she'll be very, very cross with you, young Richard. Yes, she'll send the goons out to sort you out. Shipping prices will go up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Already have my iHerb order in. Yeah, I probably should get my the main thing, taurine. Get my taurine order in. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe get a bit of extra stuff and just put it in the store it away. Just just so I've got taurine around and choline. Yeah, in my case. Yeah, I can walk. I don't have a problem. Yeah, it's the actual getting the things like taurine and choline that would be the most annoying. In particular, taurine. I can always get I've got other options for choline if I need to. More eggs. Get me a granny trolley. I can see that. I can see that happening. And what's funny about that, my dear? Just been watching Ukraine in fire doc. Okay, yeah, pretty much a mess over there. Yes. The story that keeps on giving. Oh, we've got these labs over there. Oh, we're making very dangerous military weaponized bioweapons. Oh, we don't want the Russians getting the new weapons. Oh, and then basically Rubio saves Nuland by saying, "Oh, those Russians are really bad, aren't they? They're really bad. They're probably going to use this sort of stuff." You guys are developing it outside the jurisdiction of US law, so nobody knows that you're doing it in the illegal labs, like you had illegal torture locations around the world, like remember the one that you had in Egypt, where you were torturing people, so you didn't have to torture them within your US jurisdiction. Yeah, you outsource all your criminal behaviors. Yes, exactly. That sort of stuff. Yeah, precisely. No, we don't have any weapons of mass destruction here with the Ukraines. No, they're all Soviet era ones. Oh, we just forgot we've spent 31 years trying to decommission them. What the propaganda and bullshit keeps on giving. Or as Russell said recently, he had a video and he actually said that it's basically probably a new shampoo, the one that you can't get out of your hair, and Putin will be, I can't get rid of it because he's in the shower and he can't get rid of the shampoo. It just keeps on creating, and he's buggered. He can't actually go and do something in Georgia or elsewhere. It is really funny, that part. I got a giggle out of it anyway. Yes. Our leaders are so hypocritical nowadays. All the new one with our dear friend Trudeau, lecturing Russia about democracy. The guy that just basically stripped the Canadians of a lot of their democratic rights and actually even basically, invaded their privacy, pilfered their bank accounts. I mean, God, a light, of democracy, a shining light. Give us a break. God almighty, these leaders that we've got nowadays are just such twats, such woke totalitarian twats, and they've got no respect. They're just so corrupt, no respect for the rule of law, anything. They want to lecture us about the Ruskies and others. What a joke. What an absolute joke. But yes, it keeps on giving. It's a bit ridiculous, the whole situation. 2 weeks have passed. Oh, the Russians are making no advance. And I go, are these people for? I mean, the Germans in Operation Barbarossa to get from the western, from Poland on the border there, right through to where Kiev is and the island, which is, the other half of the country. It took them 3 months under Operation Barbarossa with not a lot of resistance. 3 months. The Russians have grabbed all the bottom part and a lot of the eastern part and all that, and are surrounding a whole lot of cities within 2 weeks. Their pace is actually even faster than what the pace of the US was in Iraq. It's bullshit. I'm not in support of the invasion. Don't get me. I've been very critical about violations of international law, but to say that basically the Russians are basically failing and all that, what a load of bullshit. I mean, the bullshit just keeps on coming. It's ridiculous, the level of bullshit. Strategically, actually, they've actually grabbed those areas in the north, those areas in the east, and then all the southern part. They captured that in record time. I couldn't believe it how quickly they were able to capture all that, to cut off any supplies from the sea, to cut off their access to the Black Sea. That was where their focus was primarily. And the other focus was coming down into Kiev to basically entrap the president and decapitate the leadership there. So what are the Americans or others, Westerners, saying is a joke. And actually, they actually did a presentation in NATO recently. A Greek consultant that basically was there actually heard some of this sort of stuff. Yeah, the stuff that they tell you in the media is just bullshit. They know that the Russians are making quite good advance, and moving thousands and thousands of troops takes time. Even the Americans know that it takes time. I mean, the Americans took months and months and months just to build up their forces, let alone basically then move those forces. Takes time. And if you're on rough terrain, you're only going about 40 kilometers an hour. Takes a long time to actually, it's a vast country. It's ridiculous. Germans to get at a similar distance took them 3 months. And they had, the same sort of terrain to deal with. So it's pretty much a joke what they're saying. So, yeah. But now with all the new labs over there, weapons of mass destruction, you're not going to hear much of that being touted at the UN. The Russians will make a bit of noise about it, but the Americans will say, no, they're innocent things. But Norland is actually going, we need to get the stuff out before the Russians get it. Is that because it's new generation weapons that you've been created and you don't want the Russians getting their hands on it? Is that why? Freaking hell. So they're using a country that they signed a treaty after the collapse of the Soviet Union that all weapons of mass destruction would leave the Ukraine and go to Russia as the member of the Security Council, and from Belarus. This was basically in the agreements that all the weapons, nuclear weapons, biological weapons, chemical weapons that are in the other Soviet republics had to go all back to Russia in order for only one country, which was a Security Council country, would have those weapons, and there would be no proliferation of weapons. That was the whole thing. So under those arrangements and treaties and signatures that were signed and underpinned, Ukraine is actually violating all that. They've got no right to be running labs and doing biological research. So, interesting. Yes. They're doing it on behalf of Uncle Sam, obviously, but still, it is a weapons of mass destruction lab that is illegal. That's why they were secret labs and just have been uncovered. And then Norland, she didn't get the memo, and she just basically spilt the beans and said, yeah, but we're trying to secure them and all that. And then Rubio tried to change the whole conversation. No. The Russians are bad. We don't want because if anything happens, the Russians will be the ones doing it. And I'm going, are you kidding me? That she just put her foot in her mouth because she didn't get the memo and basically told them that they were running labs, biolabs in that country. Wonderful. Well, if you're running out of Egypt and Jordan torture labs, what a few biolabs, that's just normal US foreign policy. It seems these days. Yes, people like Eisenhower and people like Truman and people like, those sort of people would be rolling in their graves that their country's undertaking such criminal and illegal activity in other countries. But the corrupt leaders that are US, that are controlled by the financiers and all the elites in America, they don't care. They just, they'll make this sort of stuff, use it and destroy and kill people. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Americans were basically the ones behind the stuff in Wuhan, and then basically to blame the Chinese for it, because there was basically money that it was coming from the FDA from the US in those facilities. So what were they doing there? We've never been told. And when you ask for a freedom of information paper, you look at it and it's all blacked out. I mean, a couple of 1 or 2 sentences, you go, well, you guys got nothing to hide. Give us a break. It's an absolute joke, the situation. Anyway, I've had my little fun, amusement. Yes, well, hubby told me Iran, Iraq, Israel are up to the shenanigans too. Oh, yeah, they definitely are. Well, everybody is. Everybody spies on each other. Everybody wants to basically get the edge on each other. Nobody's bloody innocent. Every single country is doing little shenanigans. Just let's be truthful about it and stop lying to our population and say we don't do it. Let's say we do these sort of things because the others are doing it and we need to have the edge over them, and stop basically lying about this stuff. And if you don't want the others doing it and you believe that these things are not good, let's get with a global treaty. Let's get rid of all of them so nobody has them. So let's not play these silly little games of I don't have it, but the other side does. It's just BS. We've got enough of this BS to live for a lifetime. The rest of us, we're sick and tired of it. We're just sick and tired of it. We just want to be told how it is. And if we like it, we agree with it, fine. We don't, but we take the responsibility as a population for those decisions. It's all much more complicated than they would like us to believe. Yes, exactly. I agree. Biden is a mess, and Gates, well, it's all his fault, him and his elite backers. Oh, yeah. He's your whipping boy, isn't he, Gates? He's your little whipping boy, isn't he, Tracy? I can see you in those stilettos with a whip. Yes. Anyway, let's move on before I say too many things and get in trouble, truly in trouble. Yes, definitely. Those people are very scary. Well, one's deranged and one's really scary. I'll let you work out which one it is. Oh, yeah. Why are you focused on the pandemic? There's a clown show happening in Eastern Europe, exactly. I was confused. Now I identify as Roy. Hey, you bigot. I made my earlier remarks. Could make them again. Oh, well. I thought you guys in the Netherlands were an absolute center of excellence when it came to food production. What the hell happened? Oh, yeah, that's right. Russian oil and gas. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. And the other sort of stuff. G'day, Tom. Dom, good to see you, mate. DJ Projectus, always a pleasure, mate. We don't talk. Let's just ignore him. G'day, Scotty. Good to see you, mate. Erika, good to see you. How are things? Managed to get some people out of Ukraine due to arrival in Ireland today. Russians are flattening the place. Oh, well, with great efficiency. Yes, that's what wars do bring about. I'm having sexy steaks, 2 eggs, pork, Italian pork. Ah, yes. You mean you? Is that a new dildo variety, or is it just a milk plan? I'm going to pay for that, I know. I've eaten. Hi, Harry, and all others. Ah, great. How are you, Stefan? It's oops. Don't do that. Yeah, StreamYard just decided to move up. Had to find a spot. There's a shortage of seed oil in my country. Oh, devastated. Absolutely devastated. Do you want me to send you some over? We could get rid of the Australians stash. I get Uncle Harry tries it. Do I? Does he? Butter and ghee is still okay. Ah, yes, definitely. Fuel prices are rising in Bulgaria, Serbia too. People are also buying sunflower oil like crazy. Oh God, are they that shit? They're even fighting in supermarkets. Really, that bad? Oh well. Yeah, look, I can understand why in countries like that, which yeah, they've had a lot of their markets being flooded, and people in cities, unfortunately, don't have easy access to food, like in somebody living in a country area, and they go for that. The same thing's happening a bit in Greece and many other places. Unfortunately, people are going for those cheaper options. Let them have. Yes. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Fighting over deuterium killing foods. God. Nah, how are you, mate? It's ridiculous. Harry, can one tell if he has damaged mitochondria or he's just unfit due to not enough exercise? Does it feel different? Look, it's hard to say. Look, I would say the way you would actually know is if you basically force yourself into a deep ketosis, but you have problems basically generating enough energy. Sometimes people will force themselves and they find it very hard to get into ketosis, even when they're fasting, very hard to get, that means they've got quite a lot of damage. If you're basically, you hear other people in your age bracket do the same thing and actually seem to have, endless energy, and you have suboptimal, that may mean you've got mitochondrial damage. Yes. It's you sort of have to put yourself in a state where you're actually trying to restrict glycolytic pathways and try to support, pathways that support, the use of fats to produce energy. And if you basically see you're finding it hard to generate enough ketones, you're finding it hard to actually have that really high energy sort of thing, yeah, it could be. Now, taurine can actually mitigate some of these issues because it can actually heal some of these things. You can also supercharge melatonin, actually increase it through GABA A, which basically means then you actually can heal over time much better. So I tend to people, if they've got mitochondrial damage, putting them on much higher dosages of taurine than normal. And then I look at other things, like a certain period of time on alpha lipoic acid and other things. It depends on the sort of circumstances, the level of fibrosis, and a whole lot of things. So I usually have to get a proper history from a person before I actually give them a specific. But the one thing that you can actually do safely in large quantities, as long as you're not on lithium or blood pressure meds, is pretty much taurine. So, that can help improve things. And it has an remember I was talking about how, Stefan, that it has an anti sort of senescent sort of healing capacity. So, and that's not only with the T cell lymphocytes, but also with other cellular cells. I've done recent videos talking about some of these pathways, how it influences them. Anyway, did you? Oh, that's right. You told me. Yeah, you did. Yeah. I need to get I need to do it after this live stream. Actually, sort out some taurine for myself, just to store it away. You never know, just in case. Slow cooker. You've got a slow cooker. Good for you. Harry, I've finally got enough around to watch your video about homocysteine, and was shocked to see Gregor actually looked like a human in the past. Yeah, exactly. He looked much better. This was in his early days when he wasn't, it was in his early Vagunarized days. Maybe you should watch it too and ponder about his life. Yes, maybe he should. Yeah, it's a bit of a teller. When you look back then, you go, and he also made more sense. You could actually stand up, talk to people like a normal human. He wasn't as deranged or as depleted in terms of nutrition as he is now. So at that stage, he was still making some sense. And he was talking about that 40-year-old vegan that died from a heart attack, who was part of the American Vegan Society, or something along. It's the major vegan association of in America that's been around for a number of years, since the 20s or 30s, for a long time. And he was basically a senior member. I can't remember his position, whether it's president, secretary, or what exactly position he had. He had a senior position on their council, the Vegan Council, and he died at 40 from heart disease. So yes, if he can't do it right, can anyone? So it was really interesting. And I think that he just, that video that Gregor did, it just perfectly. He actually didn't do it. Somebody else. He actually did a lecture at a university place where there were a whole lot of vagoons there in a lecture theatre, and he was basically just telling them all this sort of stuff. But somebody was taping it and then put it on the web, and it was great because it basically showed him back then, and also admitting about some of the deficiencies and issues with a vegan diet, something that he doesn't do anymore. And so it really exposes the real thinking behind, and the cognitive dissonance and all that. But also, it was a really good video to put together and pull apart that whole homocysteine argument, the nonsense about methionine and all that. They make a big fuss about it in animal foods. Yeah, so that was a good one. I enjoyed that. I actually had to control myself from laughing. I had cases there that I really wanted to laugh quite a bit. So yeah, because it was just hilarious, the nonsense that this man was spewing in that lecture theatre. Yeah, I'm glad that you liked it. Please share it. And you can use a snipper now, that little snipper where you can grab little snips of these things and share them on the Vagoon sites and say, so let's have a go at them. G'day, Bo. Good to see you. Also, I liked how you made it quite clear that B12 is more important than folate. when clearing homocysteine. Yep, not a problem. And also B2, which is riboflavin, which is much higher, way, way higher in animal foods. Another important thing. But yes, very, very important. But I've done a video methylation one, which I have to change the name. I keep on forgetting. I need to get back to doing that at some stage. Oh, an equivalent US Australian dollars. Okay, you guys are shit. Nearly $4 Australian for regular, and diesel 3.5. Damn. You have even higher fuel. Look, I think Europe's actually got some of the highest fuel prices. Not a good situation. And high trouble as well. And serum samples have allegedly been sent to the biolabs in Ukraine, to the Doherty Institute in Victoria. Yes. But these are innocent places, Tracy. Stop being conspiratorial, woman. So conspiratorial of you, lady. God. I won't complain. Is that like Gary from the Final Space? Witchy. Hello, Witchy. Madam Witchy to you, trouble. You said recently that fresh butchered meat is better than aged one, more taurine. Yeah, exactly. But I read somewhere that most meat must be 2 to 10 days to become edible. Would be too tough or fresh. Look, obviously, to become not edible, but to the palate, the Western palate now. People basically like soft meat. The reality is, animal food, when we killed an animal and we cooked it and all that and we cut it, that's why we use knives and stone blades to cut it and into thin strips. If you take a look at them at the Inuit, when they're cutting the raw meat, they cut it into thin slices and give it to their kids to eat it as thin slices. So it's much easier to masticate. But what's the advantage? Stronger, you end up with much stronger, muscles, facial muscles, and also the bone structure becomes stronger. So your jaw has much more compressive power. Your teeth become much stronger. I mean, I gnaw through bones now. But in the early parts, I liked soft meat as well. But I can handle now a bit thicker meat, not a problem. So that's more for palate, more of the way we've been brought up to think about meat and all that. Our ancestors didn't have outdoors areas they could hang things up for a couple of days to basically allow the bacteria to break down the connective tissue and all that to soften it up. So, we're talking about ancestral ways of eating, and modern days are completely different. That's why I mentioned that, they are, and we're not going back to the ancestral stuff. The reality is, unless you actually get the beast yourself and slaughter it, not going to happen. See, in the past, what we used to do is we also used to lard the meat. So we would put through, and we'd actually put additional fat through the meat. And the reason why we did that is to soften it, to allow the meat to go through and soften. Or we would boil the animal, and then we would make You know, we would keep the water, which had in that water there was basically you know, taurine, and we would basically, my father keeps it and actually uses it for stews, for soups and stuff like that. Got it? So yeah, there are other ways of doing stuff, but yes. But I was describing the ancestral approach and basically the modern approach being quite different, you know, and it's not a question of edible. It's a matter of modern palates and weaker jaws, modern weaker jaws that can't handle probably, as you know, it's not as having to chew quite a bit. Well, those, they could, you see tribal people, they use their hands, they rip the part and chew it and swallow, rip the part, chew it and swallow. Very different eating method. We like to cut it finely and eat it, you know, we're sophisticated, but we lose a lot of other nutrients due to our sophistication. So I was just comparing the two, contrasting. And a reason, and probably the reason why we probably need more taurine than we get in their diet anyway, because of those reasons. So ironically, I think my friend with insomnia problems is having a rare nap and won't be joining us to ask her question to Harry. Oh, fair enough. Everybody needs a nap. Well, you know, Dean, one of the guys who is my subscriber, he usually he's an American and usually appears in the early hours on the other live stream, and pretty much he basically had insomnia as well, and basically he took taurine in combination with a low dose melatonin and knocked himself out, and he had 4 years difficulty sleeping. 4 years. So what he did was he amplified through the taurine, because taurine through GABA A can actually increase through the pituitary gland, can actually increase melatonin. And also taurine brings down cortisol, which suppresses, if you've got a lot of stress in your life and all that, and you're anxious and all that, what taurine does is it calms you down. It increases the parasympathetic nervous system, but also through GABA A that it increases, it actually produces more melatonin. So he was actually amplifying that, bringing down the cortisol, bringing up his natural, you know, melatonin, plus putting a small dose melatonin to amplify the amount, and then the taurine in there to amplify that, and eventually got much higher levels and basically made himself drowsy and slept. And now he sleeps fine, where for 4 years he was struggling to sleep. So yes, you can amplify. I mean, more the research was done for the fisetin, how to amplify the fisetin with basically melatonin, and melatonin, obviously to amplify melatonin you need taurine. So it's a nice combination, taurine, melatonin, fisetin being amplified to kill off more cancer and senolytic cells. But a certain cancer type, like melanoma on your skin, 860% increase in kill rate of those cancer cells with the same dose of fisetin. Fantastic to have such a kill rate. So yes, we can now use that method in the evenings to amplify the kill rate of cancer cells. So that's the new video that I've put out. And I would say if she wants to amplify, she may have to go a bit higher on taurine in order to amplify that effect. She also should consider blue blocking glasses and limit her blue light exposure, which actually raises cortisol in the night, which is the other problem. So those are things to think about. You could tell her that. Crazy. Another Aussie athlete had a heart attack after booster poke. Oh yes, a bit like the soccer players who had, you know, too many. What was wrong with them? God, those soccer players, you know, just a weak. Must be. These athletes must be so weak nowadays. They just drop dead. You know, they can't even handle a bit of a poke. What's wrong with them? Yes, very concerning, to say the least. Friggin' concerning. Yes, unfortunately, Tracy, we're run by misanthropists who are running the show, and basically, they're out there with their little needles, making sure that everybody complies. So, okay, good if it was saved. Yeah, but it's still going to sustain damage, and then they're going to give him a whole lot of garbage to basically intensify the damage. I've just been discharged from my cardiologist, and I'm an anomaly. Apparently, must be genetics. Genetics didn't allow. This is the logic. Genetically, I wasn't protected in getting the stuff in the first place, and after I had my first heart incident and my bypass surgery, now my genetics are allowing me to actually heal better than the average person normally does, where they deteriorate on the meds and their food recommendations. Something wrong with this. What a contradiction. Absolute garbage coming from the medical profession. I just sat there. I was listening to the doctor, and I go, do you really believe this nonsense you're actually spewing at the moment, telling me? It was ridiculous. What can one say? Cognitive dissonance. They see it in front of them, and they still don't believe it. Yes. Received 3 packs of taurine this week. Herb. I think I'll order 3 more. If I don't get my supply, I'll basically nuke you. Already clips here. Yes. She's the other scoundrel undermining my taurine buying and other things. Yes, another scoundrel. She and Mr. Baby, literally, if they had a chance of actually going to iHerb with a big truck and literally filling it up with stuff, none of us would get anything. Believe me. Is he? Oh, I've got rid of him, Tracy. He's gone. Yes. This is Roy. Get it right. Yes, this body can identify as whatever it likes. You bigot. G'day, Bjorn. Well, excluding Tracy. And hello, Kitty. G'day, Nathan. Good to see you, mate. Oops. Oh, don't do that. Don't. Come back. Haha. Yes, hit the damn button. Hit it. Take a sledgehammer. Use a sledgehammer. Do it properly. Yes, Italian sausage. I just had some beautiful Italian sausages with these ones actually had cheese in them. They're cheesy, cheesy sausages. So they actually put it in there, and it's just it actually just cut it open. It just melts. Just melts through all the meat. So it's a cheesy. It's got a cheesy sort of meaty flavor. It's decadent. I actually put even some Danish cheese on top, just to add to the. Yeah, that was bloody nice. I just had that earlier. Sounds nice. Roy, the ultimate. The ultimate, my dear. The ultimate. Get it right. His Supreme Highness, Roy, the ultimate. God, you guys basically just kiss Harry's ass all the time. What about Roy? Give him a bit of recognition. Should I get a teddy bear as well? Oh, I mean, just to compete with the other teddy bear across the pond. Oh yes, he does. He does. Yes, yes. I can't help myself, Trouble. Dear Harry Serpanos. Oh yeah, we trying to eat animal based already. Yep. Yes. Yeah, unless I know exactly her history background and all that, I would go higher. But she needs to be aware that if she's got if she's come from a veganerized diet and she's got underlying gallbladder issues and some of that, it's going to cause some initial upsets with a gallbladder and stuff like that, because it will emulsify the gallstones or gall sludge or whatever, and so she will get stuff coming out, which will upset her tummy a bit and her gut for a while, as it will settle down. But so she needs to be aware of these things. But if she needs to fix these problems like insomnia, she does need to push up and also consider blue blocking glasses, to minimize the blue blocking exposure. That can help a lot in also naturally elevating melatonin and then amplifying it with taurine in the evening. So that's what we want to do. Anyway, they're afraid that people will use seed oil as fuel heat instead of gas. That is why the price is going up. Actually, that would be very useful for that purpose. Yeah, that actually, yeah, burn the damn stuff. Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, I'll go with that. Probably the smell and odor would be a bit probably an issue, but if you're going to use it for non-cooking purposes, oh, definitely. Yeah, I'll endorse that to keep warm. Because it's March, April, May. They got about 2 more months until they get into any weather in Northern Europe, which is a bit warmer. Because still it's wintry, and it's quite wintry at the moment. And probably April they'll start getting more rain and a bit more humidity. It'll start warming up a bit, and then May before things, and then at least there's quite a bit of period for the boffins maybe to make some good decisions at once at some stage. Yes. Not a problem. See you, Richard. Got a lot of fans here, Richard. See you, mate. Many things can lead to insomnia. That's true. Coffee, histamine, high blood pressure, blue light. Yes. But 3 grams before bed helps. Yes. Well, the taurine actually helps with lowering blood pressure, dealing with some of the damaging effects of blue light, but you need to mitigate it with some other interventions. It also reduces histamines. Now, with the coffee part, that can be an issue as well for some people. That other thing that Bart was doing, he's actually stopped doing it, the DCA stuff that he was doing, that supercharges, and creates a lot of hydrogen peroxide, H2O2 that he called it, which is hydrogen peroxide. Not a good idea. So he stopped that. But also when you combine it with coffee, it actually can increase insomnia. So if people are using that stuff, they shouldn't be. But if they are, because taurine can actually lower, because that actually goes through to acetyl-CoA into the Krebs cycle and suppresses lactate, which can go back through the Cori cycle. But lactate could also be downregulated by taurine as well, and it increases the actual lipolysis into the Krebs cycle. There, in my recent videos I've discussed all this sort of stuff. So yeah, so that's with the athletes as well, you know, the athletic performance and stuff like that I talk in recent with the video. Yes, so that is really important. As I said, 3 grams. I mean, you've been doing it for some time, Alex, and you're in a better position. I think that she probably needs higher amounts. She'd be very highly deficient, and she probably have a lot of derangements that need to be fixed. But obviously, you don't want to go back smack to 10. You'll go 2 grams, 4 grams, 6 grams, and go up until I would say at least 10 for her to sort things out in that regard. So, and she'd need to do that for a couple of months and then come back to lower levels once a lot of those things resolved. And then you can actually have a bit in the evening, because normally we would have got it in the food supply. As I said, we've changed the food supply. We don't slaughter immediately and eat. We basically slaughter and hang the meat to soften it up, and we lose a lot of the taurine as a consequence in not doing it ancestrally like we used to. It's another issue. Dick, good to see you, mate. You betcha I wouldn't. Hey, I did give you some, so those sausages, remember, when you ran out. So yeah, I'm not completely tight. I'm semi-tight with certain things. God, no gratitude. G'day, DC. I don't see any milk or gin. I've got the milk. I've got milk here. So I just filled up the cup. But I had the gin yesterday. Yeah, that was good. Also good quality gin. Japanese. Pricey, but enjoyable. Yes, you got to have once now and then a bit of a cheat. I mean, if I was in the middle of a cut or something like that, no, I wouldn't do it. But, you know, at the moment, I'm not. I'll wait until winter to really get myself motivated to do a big cut, which is my plan. And actually, there were 3. One's just been eaten. I should have actually got more today. I just didn't want to be seen like a guts, you know, like a, you know, I didn't want to give other people opportunity to buy because they didn't have a big stock pile there. It was just, there was only 1 at the bottom. So, I mean, you'd taken 2. I took 2 as well. And so I was sort of, you know, other people do one as well. So. Harry, is the now taurine not good enough too? I wouldn't buy it. Says also free form on the label and pure powder. Look, if it says free form and it is really free form, then yes, it would be fine. I don't know whether it is. I haven't researched it. I did research the other company, so, and I'm not prepared to go and research other products for other people. You got to do it yourself. I've researched a couple of things like the liposomal stuff. I contact actually the organizations and asked them to give me the information, you know, for their product, how do they produce it and all that. So this product I know actually does really work well. The one that I get from High Herb. So, and many other people that have used it, because I think Alex has used a number of other stuff, and he claims that he's actually getting far better results with this product. rather than the other products that he's used. So this family, husband and wife, vegetarians, they were sort of focused on quality products that developed this company. So yeah, I think they have better quality assurance sort of methods and stuff like that. So I'm reluctant to recommend anything else, but if you want to buy something else, that's your business. Not me to tell you, Stefan, what to buy. I'll continue buying what I buy. When people ask me, what do you buy? I say, I buy this product. You don't want to buy it, your business, so it's like the lady in my featured, there's actually Sarah there from Britain. If people haven't subscribed to her, please subscribe. Try to get her over 1,000. And she basically, there's a company in Britain called Silver something or whatever. I can't remember now the exact number. If you contact her, she'll tell you. And they make really high quality products of different, even liposomal and all sorts of things. And so, I have actually purchased from them certain products in the past that I required for myself. I don't now, but when I did. So there's certain products that I would buy from. The other company on iHerb that creates the liposomal preparations, they use a 25 nanometer liposome, very small, very good to absorb. So if people have a malabsorption issues, much better than some of the other products out there. So I do research the products for specifically. Since I've got a good product, why would I bother recommending or researching other products? Now, people say, I'm not here to research everything for everyone, if you need to, but that's my preference as far. And I know now this product may be just equivalent. It may be, I don't know. So you can basically get both products, try them and see how you feel, is an option. Price wise, they're not like they're massively. I would also always stick to powders. Don't stick to capsules. Capsules used to have a lot of fillers in them, and they are more problematic. They don't. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Definitely. Thank you, Bo. Good evening to you as well, R.F. Bede. How are you, mate? G'day, Nathan. God. You people are. Oh well, you're as sick as me at least. that's something. God. Trouble. Behave yourself. I don't know why Putin is bothering with Ukraine and controlling their wheat fields. He should invade Tassie and take all your cows and lambs, Harry. What? Michael? Lock and load? No, nobody's touching my lambs or cows. He can take the kibble off the actual Ukraines. He's not touching my animals. They are very much. I'll actually show you. Hold on, I'll grab a pack and it shows exactly what it is. That's the product. So it's artisan. It's apple and maple pork sausage. It's got about that whole pack there. It's got about 6 grams of carbohydrates from those things that they actually make a juice out of, and then they put it into the sausage and meat. So, oops. I'll take my finger away. This is a Tasmanian product. Did his wife actually say that they, Kitty? Did his wife say that they got a website, don't they? I think. Let's see if I can find it. It's right up in the Tamar. Tamar Artisan Small Goods. I think that's, yep. Yeah, that's him. Oops. Yeah, that's Tamar Artisan Small Goods. There they are. That's the setup. That's the son that we haven't met, because we met the parents, but that's the son and that's the grandchild. And Old Farm, it's called Old Farm. So they've got a phone number there and everything. So, and a website. Okay. So rare breed, humanely treated, pasture-raised, free-range pork and grass-fed, dry-aged Angus at an affordable price. So as you can see, it's all grass-fed around here, and their pork is sort of free-range as well, their porkers. So it's a family business. And we like to support Tasmanian family businesses down here because it will help these people stay in business. I want these people to stay in business to provide us with their products in that regard. So really, really important that we keep these people in business. So that's that one, and this is their Facebook one. So I'll put that up there. People can actually get the information. If they're in Tassie, they can use this. If they're not in Tassie, interstate, maybe, I don't know. I've got no idea whether they send interstate or not. So no idea, guys. You'll have to do your own research to find out whether they send stuff interstate or not. So I'm no idea whatsoever. Anyway. Yeah, they are really nice. I really enjoy them. But I've got all that other, fish and meat and stuff in my fridge that I have to eat down because I can't buy too much because I'm running out of space. I've got no deep fridge storage anymore. I've run out. So I got to eat the food. I can't keep on buying. You drag me to buy stuff. God, I can't eat it fast enough that I can store it. At least I won't die if things go to shit for a while. And no, I'm keeping it for myself to survive. Just in case you had that thought. I've got all the other packs as well. Remember the big pack that I got? Oh, I need to sort that out at some stage as well. It's exposed now. I think being on my channel is too obvious. Yeah. We won't tell Harry. Yeah, obviously. Mum's the word. Yeah, it does. That's a nice thing. It actually contains lard, and it's just, it's divine. Did you try the? I think you did try the cheese one. Did you once, or what did you think of it? I love it because it just melts in with the lard, and it's just I just had some before. I had 400 grams, and I had additional cheese. And even though I'm not hungry, I still, oh God, it's addictive. It was just, I want more. And mastication. It's good to be amongst a bunch of degenerates. I don't feel out of place. Now you've got the links, and see if you can actually get it sent to you. That I don't know whether how practical it is. So yeah, it's always never easy with these things. As I say, do search in your area RF food. You never know what you can find. I mean, we've been looking around. I mean, me and Hello Kitty have been going around different butcher shops and going around to different outlets and all that. And you've got to actually do a bit of the legwork, and you never know what you come across. And we've come across a number of different things. And obviously, sometimes that we find stuff really nice, but really pricey. And we go, like double the price. And you go, where this stuff is at a good price point, but at the same time, it's really nice stuff. So yeah, so it is important to sort of go around and look and search and all that sort of stuff. My H. pylori levels went from 90 to 85 in 4 weeks. Below 15 is negative. I've been using taurine, betaine, and Bulgaria. I will try EURASIA tomorrow. I start with 6 grams of taurine. Yeah, go up on the taurine. Taurine will increase the acidification. Also, taurine actually combats H. pylori. It really suppresses. EURASIA and taurine in combination really work well to bring it down. Yes, you've got to work really hard at it and get the acidity levels, because the thing with H. pylori, it tries to suppress acidity because it survives in a more less acidic environment. So it tries to push the pH up. What we're trying to do is push the pH down and increase acidity. So and taurine helps with that as well. I did a video. You've probably seen the video that I did on stomach acidity and stomach, issues. So Harry Serpanos stomach, if anybody hasn't seen it, and you get the information. I would eat like Harry. Not necessarily. He does other things that you shouldn't do, like gin, ice cream, and other things that you shouldn't do. RF bead. I heard someone saying they ate a vegan soldier. They asked him what it was made from. He said a vegan. It's a brain fog. They can't even actually explain things properly. Or was it Soyance? The new vegan product. Oh, that's right. One of their lunatics up in was actually promoting cannibalism, wasn't it? Oh yeah, you know, vegans sacrificing for other vegans. Is that it now? Oh, thank you, Trouble. See, somebody who appreciates me. Hello, Kitty. Should I take beta and HCl with every meal? Can add my B50 now, or wait until H. pylori disappears? No, you can. You can actually put HCl, you know, and it actually will help increase the acidity, and together with taurine will amplify that, because that's what we want to do. We want to make it a very inhospitable environment for H. pylori. So yes, take the gloves off, you know, and deal that little pesky H. pylori. Give it a good punch, my dear. Give it a good punch. Fluffy Rainbows, good to see you. Already, Harry, sir, with friends. First comment I see is the sausage. Is it so good? Oh, yes, very good. It's going to be one of them streams now, is it? Always. Well, one cannot help oneself, you know. With a crowd like this, Tracy, Hello Kitty, and all that, descending into the gutter is very easy with those ladies. Well, let me say, classifying them as ladies is pushing it, stretching it a bit, the truth, but we'll be nice and call them ladies of ill repute. G'day, Kate. Come on, party people. 33 here, but only 19 likes. Oh, really, guys? Aren't I entertaining enough? God, you can like me, can't you? Even a bit, tiny bit, little bit. Or dislike me. If you're a Vagoon, please dislike me. I'll accept that. Thanks, Kate. Yes, yes. Neglecting to hit the like button. Nah, not a problem. It doesn't actually lower cortisol. It actually homeostatically brings it back to normal levels. So if you've got very high of anything or very low of anything, it actually brings it back to normal. If you've got very low blood pressure, it brings it back to the normal range. If you've got very high blood pressure, it brings it to the normal range. It actually normalizes things. Even cortisol, very low cortisol is not necessarily a good thing. Very high cortisol is not a good thing. To normalize it is what taurine is, like a Swiss Army knife. It's a homeostatic regulator. It regulates things in the body. It's not a blunt instrument. It's even a calcium blocker, channel blocker. But unlike the medicine that blunts, that has the blunting effect, it's a mild. It's a sort of a modulating. It has a mild, light touching type blocking method, which is a mild blocking. So it's not like a sledgehammer. And that's the difference between something that is been around in cells for millions and millions of years, rather than something that is created in a lab by some doctor for a pharmaceutical company. There's a fundamental difference. Taurine basically is a regulator and will normalize your cortisol levels, normalize a number of things, electrolyte balance, all these sort of things in the body. That's why I call it the Swiss Army knife of the body. Harry, when are you going to declassify your secret data on Bifidus infantis strain? At some point. at some point. The video will happen. It's in the list. It's in the list of things to happen. There have been other priorities. Anyway, thanks for your reply, Harry. My friends recently started taking melatonin a few days ago, so in combination with taurine, should hopefully work. She'll be so pleased to try. Yes, exactly. Dean was knocked out. He actually took so much taurine, he knocked himself out. He literally was struggling to keep his eyes open, he told me. So, yeah. So, tell her to go that rush is like 10 grams and a whole lot of melatonin. She'll just pass out potentially. So I'm going. I'm not saying that it will happen like that. I'm just being a bit of a facetious and kidding at the moment. But yeah, you take it. Take it at our own strides. We don't want. I would rather go higher with the taurine and keep the melatonin at the lower, levels. The reason for that is we want to not affect. We want to basically do two things. We want to bring down and normalize cortisol with the taurine, magnify the melatonin with the taurine, but then create space for the body's natural ability to rise the melatonin. Because basically, we don't want to be dependent on melatonin. Not a good thing long term. So, but as a transitional tool, yes, useful at the low dosages with high dosages of taurine. And then just play around. She may need to take a bit extra bow for a while and then come down as she sort of things start normalizing. It can vary between people how many, some people can see a lot of changes very quickly, others a couple of months. No idea why. Maybe because I'm very deficient in taurine, and taurine is being used for other things in the body until you get to a certain or physiological level. That's why now I've sort of changed, rather than going, if you're not on blood pressure meds, you're not on lithium, well, why not go much higher, a bit quicker, is my attitude now. I've sort of changed the attitude rather than waiting for months and months. Let's just push the thing along a bit faster. But just be sensible about it. She needs to be sensible as well, not to go crazy. Modern heart attacks is all climate change. Oh, yes, exactly. Very much. Very much. Yes, yes. Very, very much, yes. Our dear friend Bill Gates is going to put stuff in the atmosphere to help fix that problem. And heart attacks will be a thing of the past, Alex. A thing of the past. Yes, yes. Yeah, Bill will sort everything out. Yep, yep. He'll provide you with good quality kibble and an environmental protections shield. You'll be happy. Yes, yes. Be able to use his products and be happy. Can persistent diarrhea on carnivore also be a sign of oxalate? It can be dumping. Yes, it can be. Even through urine is not foamy. It can be. Some people, don't ask me why. Some people, I tend to be urination. It's your foamy urine and stuff like that. Other people get it through the bowels. They actually through the gallbladder tends to push it through there with bile and tends to create a lot of diarrhea. It deranges the bile sort of, and actually you end up losing more bile as a consequence, which is an annoyance. So that's why you need now taurine. I actually encourage people to put citric acid in, like a food grade citric acid. You can get actually the food grade citric acid from iHerb. They do have a food grade. And this is the citric acid one. That's a food grade one you can actually use. And this is the taurine powder that I usually get. Okay. So now citric acid will help with breaking down those oxalates and all that. Also, taurine helps because the other thing that actually does, which is a problem, oxalate actually depletes. Oxalate depletes not only your bile to some extent, it also depletes your sulfur amino acids. So like taurine and stuff like that. So it actually, it depletes quite a bit when it's in the system. This is why a lot of these derangements, it creates a lot of gut problems and all sorts of things, oxalate. So, but some people get more gut issues, other people get more kidney foam issues. So it depends. If you're a stone former like me, and you will tend to get foamy urine. If you're less of a stone former, naturally you don't produce stones like kidney stones and things like that. You will tend to basically excrete through the feces, which can actually cause problems in your bowel. So yes, that can be a problem. Now that can also be mitigated. Taurine with a higher dose of taurine can help alleviate a lot of those issues. Initially, it can make things a bit worse, and then they start normalizing. So yeah, it's a bit of a transition. It's just the way it is. Yeah. So there are number of issues in that. I mean, I've been through some of these sort of issues myself. I haven't now had 2020. So I've been now a bit over a year now that I haven't had any real dumping issues or whatever. So things of my feces are normal, my urine is normal. So I think I'm over it in terms of the oxalate issue. Because by now I should have had another incident if there was still around. So I'm hoping that I'm over it. Well, I think I'm over it, I can't say definitive. I'm sort of saying at least I want another year, or a couple of months or whatever, or half a year, whatever, just to be certain that it is truly over. But, it's one of those things, it's unfortunate. A lot of the stuff that we've done over years and years and years and years, decades, putting this sort of garbage into us has created a lot of these problems. It's I think what was the? I think it was 50. Oh God, I'm getting a bit. I'll probably get. I just about to yawn. I just in the evening, as this, I've got blue blocking and all that. I've got my milk that helps increase slightly melatonin, and I also had a big. I probably should have allowed. Probably shouldn't have taken so much taurine. I should have had it after the live stream. It's starting to make me drowsy. If I go to sleep on the, don't worry, just keep on going. So, yes, people can express these issues in different ways, unfortunately. And the floods in New South Wales, yes, wonderful. Look, there's actually people that I know a number of engineers that have been looking at some of these problems and talk that you can actually redirect back. Oh, did I? No. Bo. No, the one was citric acid, and the other one, the first one is citric acid, and the second one is I'm sure it's taurine. No. The second one is taurine. Check it again, my dear. Check it again. Oh, Llama's here. How are you, Llama? Yeah, bragging about who's got more artificial taurine. Shaking my head. Be humorous. Show your humorous side. Llama learning beyond the B letter. The letter B. There's also the letter C. You could go for the C. Anyway, yeah, what I was saying is there is, I can't remember the river system. It's further up the towards, I think it's beyond Townsville. I can't remember. There's a river system that gets, there's a catchment there along there that has so much rain every year, so much water. If they rediverted part of that in over the Blue Mountains, they would actually be able to irrigate and provide, and also fix the Murray-Darling River system, which doesn't have enough water. They'd be able to fix that, the environmental mess they've created, plus provide enough water for all those areas on the other side of the Murray, of the Blue Mountains, and at the same time reduce the flooding in Queensland, or even eliminate it potentially. A win-win for everyone. But no, we can't have that sort of investment. That would be nation-building investments that actually lift productivity and improve the state of affairs. No, we need to continually allow flooding to happen so we can destroy billions and billions of dollars worth of property every year, push up premiums, insurance premiums, because wasting money that way is much better than making changes, productive changes, and smart, intelligent changes. Yes, we can't take that water away. Let's flood things, because basically that would be inappropriately environmentally, to take water from another river system that's got too much. Most of it ends up flooding the whole bloody Queensland and ending up in the sea. No, we should let it go to the sea, not send it back inland to help fix a lot of other problems there. Definitely not. Yes. Bloody crazy world we live in, that, isn't it, Tracy? Yes. Far too damn crazy. Fetty Finn, how are you, mate? I had to miss the last half of my chat. Native finger limes, any good? I have lots each year. Native finger limes. Is this a product, or what are we talking about? Or is this a condition? Can you put something down for me so I know what exactly? Because I'm not sure what you're asking. Or is it about the sausages that we're talking about? I'm confused. Because he's a deviant. Haven't you worked that out yet, Trouble? I know what excites you, Tracy. I know what excites you, dear. Yummy. Yes. A tray full of meat, every day. That would be paradise. Yes. With gin on the side, as long as God could fix the negative effects of the liver, eliminate that problem. It'd be gin on the side or on the rocks, and yeah. Anyway, have you seen Grundy's last confusing? Nice one, Stefan. Last confusing video. He was talking about ketones being bad, and a thing called mitochondrial decoupling. Want to sell a new book of his? Obviously, yes, I suspect so. No, I haven't. I should probably go away and actually see what he exactly said, rather than making a blind comment. But I suspect he's just come up with some idiotic stuff about ketones, idiotic stuff about mitochondrial uncoupling. Anyway, he's a special gentleman. Let's put it that way. He has some funny ideas about things and very reductionist in a lot of his thinking. Yes. If he had just researched a bit more, he wouldn't be so poo-pooing milk, raw milk in particular. He'd be supporting of it and supporting the lactoferrin binding feature on lectins. But no. He's got his own agenda. See, he's one of these people that now are sort of permeating through the keto low carb community, pushing this more plant-based agenda, plant-based proteins and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, the sort of stuff, low carb nonsense of a plant-based variety. Oh, is this golly doll for Roy? Call it Justin. You're trying to get me into trouble, aren't you, Tracy? You definitely are trying to get me into trouble. You bad girl. Yeah, he's a bloody crackpot. I watched last year. I watched 2 of his videos, Bjorn. I got through one of them. I felt like spewing right after. There was only probably one point where he touched a bit on anything that made sense. And then there was another one that just didn't make sense. He just were all over the place. He was just saying this and that, like all that, like the special words that you have to cover, this can, and I'm going, where's the proof and where's the sort of evidence base that these really happen? Or are these just imaginations in your brain? It's just, and I only ended up that second video, probably only watching about 2/3 of it before I just basically said, why am I watching this crap? And I just stopped watching. And I haven't really watched a video of his since. And that was just because other people sent me links to say, look at what Grundy's saying, just to listen to it. And I just basically found it so boring, useless, and idiotic, and of zero value to improve human health in any way. I mean, I just don't understand how people even sit there and watch him. I don't know what they get out of it. Not much. It's just ridiculous. Nax, good to see you, mate. Back for the second round. Yes. My daughter has been suffering from eczema. Any course of action that you would suggest? I assume taurine is part of the solution, no doubt. Taurine can help. Yeah, taurine can help. But eczema and stuff like that is more fat-soluble vitamins deficiencies. If you're not getting enough fat-soluble vitamins, because eczema is basically an overexpression of matrix metalloproteinases. These are collagen-degrading enzymes that are overexpressing. Now, you do need some small amount of collagen-degrading enzymes to come in, break down fibrotic tissue, clear out damaged stuff and all that, and turn it over and replace that tissue, But when they're not regulated by fat-soluble vitamins, that's when you get into trouble, believe me. I used to have, certain skin issues as well, but no more. So, oops. Anyway, so yeah, it's the fat-soluble vitamins that you want to get into the diet. So you can, she probably can get enough minoquinone 4 from dairy products and stuff like that. So she probably doesn't need to supplement that. Eggs and stuff like that will give her minoquinone 4, will give her enough retinol. Probably the other one that she may need a bit is, consuming a bit of dairy fats like butter and stuff like that have got a bit more retinol. Plus, also consider, now if you wanted to get a bit, she didn't want to consume a lot of those things. The other option is Rosita cod liver oil. She could use a bit of that for a certain period of time, as long as she balances that with the other fat soluble vitamins, so she doesn't go crazy on it. And that is vitamin D and stuff like that. Now, either naturally from the sun or by supplementing at least 10,000 IUs to sort things out. How old is she? Actually, I've been asked before I actually, if she's young, if she's very young, then 5,000 IUs. But if she's basically like an older teenager, then yeah, go for 10. Because it's the fat soluble vitamins that regulate. Now, the other thing that actually can help with the skin is niacin. Now, a lot of young people, you're going to find it very hard to give them niacin if they get a flush. So the other option is to consider niacin-rich foods like pork and tuna. So those sort of foods are much higher in. So getting a bit of pork and tuna into her diet would also help getting a bit of niacin, because niacin can reduce inflammation in the skin. Give that a go, see how all that goes, and if things don't really make much of a traction, they should technically. A couple of grams of taurine as well, which will reduce some of the inflammation and help along as well in some of the regulatory side. So 2 grams, don't go any higher. A teenager or a young child probably is more than enough. And just monitor and tell me, and give it about a month or so, and then let me know where we're at. Mitochondrial decoupling happens in brown fat. Yes. Is he saying it's a bad thing? I don't know. I haven't seen the video trouble, so I've got no idea. So it's actually uncoupling, it's actually called. But yes, it will happen in brown tissue, but also will happen in beige. So when you're like fasting and stuff like that, and low carbohydrate, and you actually, some of the white adipose tissue actually starts increasing its mitochondrial density, it will basically uncouple and under very highly ketogenic state. But is that a problem? What is he trying to say? So energy that you create heat from is not energy you store or energy you use. Is that an issue? So I wonder, because even basically uncoupling can happen even when you're on a very low fat diet. You can actually get a level of uncoupling. It's another reason why vagoons on fruitarian diets and all that don't feel that cold, because of the uncoupling effect. So yeah, that's the other extreme of the non-Randall cycle states. But I don't know what he's, what's his point that he's trying to make. So who knows? It's probably come up with some deranged, idiotic, reductionist nonsense like a lot of them do. I think, unless, I may actually check it out, because he may have adopted the Ray Peat bullshit. Maybe. I don't know. They seem to be all heading that way. Since the biochemistry of everyone else is bullshit, the only person that, well, even Ray Peat's biochemistry is bullshit. It's just reductionist, but it actually has more plausibility to the average person that's not that that versed in understanding reductionism, and can very easily be deceived under those circumstances. So yeah, interesting to see whether he's become a repeat crackpot as well. Agreed. Almost everybody is constantly saying that they respect him. Yeah. Yes, some people do. That's odd. Oh, is it a keto book that he's actually produced? I haven't kept up with Grundy for some time. I've got no idea what he's producing, what he's saying, or what he's doing, or in what context. Or pretty much, I'm in the complete dark in terms of Grundy, what he's actually talking about. Alex, they made the mistake in Greece several years back. They taxed diesel for green policy, and everyone used heating oil. And they stupidly raised the tax on heating oil. Continued. Yeah, I know. Bloody crazy. Yes. Yeah, Greece has got a lot of green regulation, far too much. And we've got basically the government, some of the oil fields and gas fields can't even get going. We've got these environmentalists constantly litigating in the Greek parliament, in the Greek courts, preventing things from happening. So, and getting funding from some of the European friends. So pretty much undermining Greece's energy security. If I was Prime Minister of Greece, I would scrap that legislation and tell the European Brussels committee to go and pretty much. Yeah, but unfortunately, we've got a woke. In Greece, they've got a woke Prime Minister. Knows how to kiss Brussels' ass and Washington's ass. That's the problem with our current Prime Minister of Greece. Okay, of course, eating more fat then produces bile, does cause loose stools. Too little fat equals hard stools. Great way to adjust your fat to protein ratio. No, I mean, a lot of fat, yes. More fat will actually make your stools like that. Salt as well, but that's not it. Taurine is the key regulator that regulates all this sort of stuff, and some other stuff like oxalates and other things can derange it, put it out of whack, is what happens. But if you've got proper bile flow, you will recycle over 95%, unless you've got some derangement that is preventing that. So you should get very little bile that goes into the colon. So very little possibility of that happening. So for more bile to be going in there, it usually means that it's actually intermixed with sludge, potentially, and that sludge then is actually ending up in the colon and causing that problem of loose stools. But if it's not sludge, it could be oxalate. Trying to pin it down exactly, not everybody expresses oxalate the same way, which is a hard thing. So, but usually upping the taurine levels usually seems to sort these and bring back the homeostasis, and proper regulation of these things is the easiest way to try and deal with some of these problems. Grundy, a ridiculous diet is an oxalate oil, low protein poison. Yeah, it has a lot of oxalate in it. It does a lot of, it's primarily olive oil and stuff like that, but it's still, too many. Even olive oil can have problems when you overconsume it. There's still a certain level of rancidity and aldehydes. And it's definitely low protein, which is very unhealthy. The last thing we need is more people on low protein diets to end up with sarcopenia and osteoporosis into old age. Not a good thing at all, DC. Well stated. Yeah, it is. But I'll take your word. I know that some of his diet definitely takes, from a video that I saw ages ago, that he talked about olive oil, that he consumes quite a bit of it. and he was a bit poo-pooing protein, high animal protein, pretty much. And a lot of the foods that he was, the low lectin type foods, a lot of them have a lot of oxalates in them, which is another problem in itself. So if he's primarily still on that type, I would say it's crap. He may have made some modifications recently. I've got no idea. If I get a chance, I may look. It's not, he's not that important. Maybe some people think, but I think he's a bit of a twat. Just another one of those airy-fairy, nonsensical, doesn't make much sense persons. I'm not even going to basically, challenge that. I'll let it stand. How could you say that about Roy? After that, the Greeks burnt everything that they could get their hands on in the winter. Hit meaning they couldn't see the Parthenon from the city in Athens. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of trees were cut down. A lot of trees, which made things like flooding and landslides and more prone. More people started cutting down forests and trees and that for firewood. Yeah, all this bullshit. People need energy to basically have a half, to be able to heat themselves in winter. And unfortunately, with now all these crazy policies, it's not only going to be the Greeks, but many other Europeans are going to suffer cold, and a lot of cold next winter if this situation doesn't get sorted out quick. Not a good thing. I didn't understand how much Grundy was saying, as I must admit. So maybe I do not repeat it correctly. Oh, look. Yeah, look. I've got no idea. He's got a lot of things. And my sort of understanding, Stephanie, is some of the stuff that he was saying was a bit contradictory, because he was arguing. I remember he was arguing a point about certain types of anti-nutrients in certain foods, and then he was recommending other foods that had just as bad anti-nutrients that caused similar things, but they didn't have as many lectins. And I'm going, so what are you solving when you're creating the same problem but just in a different way? It just sort of was, he was contradicting. He seems to contradict himself on a lot of things. The problem is he recognizes a lot of problems in plants, but at the same time, he can't jump that threshold of saying, look, let's get rid of all the plants. They're too problematic. Let's just go for the animal products. So what he's done is he's gone, okay, a lot of oils, like we can get energy from oils. So rather than actually putting sugar, which will get, or high oxide, plants that have got a lot of lectins, like potatoes and all that, tubers and that. Now let's eliminate that and let's just use an oil like olive oil or tropical oils like coconut oil and stuff like that as our energy source, and then throw in some low protein vegetables and stuff like that that are not as bad and all that. And he's made this concoction of a diet that basically eliminates the problem that he's arguing against to some extent, creates other problems, adds oil, but makes it a protein deficient diet. So it's a low carb protein deficient diet. Basically, it's nearly a fasting mimicking diet. Now, if you do a fasting mimicking diet for too long, you'll end up like the fruitarians, wasting away. It's ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense, what he's saying. It's bizarre. What can one say? Is there a increased bioproduction, or will it be just happen naturally? It's, my dear, it's called taurine. Remember all the videos that I've done about taurine, even about children. Your mummy's milk is very high in taurine in order to create super high levels of bile for the child to absorb nutrients. through the ileum. So yeah, taurine is the main game. Mummy knows best. Trouble. Mummy knows best. No. Any advice on carnivore macros to max muscle gains without gaining fat? Who's thinking 4 grams a kilo body? Yep, that's fine. That's what I usually recommend for people wanting to put more muscle, and like half of that fat. Yep, that's fine. Good. If you've got body fat, if you don't have body fat, then you need to up the fat slightly, because otherwise you will get into rabbit starvation. Now, how much taurine would you recommend for myostatin inhibition effect? I would recommend basically, if you're a large person, I'd recommend up to 8 grams. If you're a medium-sized person, probably down to about 6. Medium to small, probably about down to 6 grams. And it should be taken before 90 minutes before exercising. So, and your creatine and your L-citrulline for vasodilation to increase your performance, that should be done 30 minutes before. And so I usually about 2 grams of L-citrulline and about 3, I sometimes do 4 grams of creatine. So that's how I sort of do it in a couple of days a week. I only do 1 day a week now, but if you want to do a bit more, you do need days to rest. That's when you actually build muscle, when you're resting, not when you're actually training. So yeah, basically doing about 2 to 3 days a week is pretty much, probably 3 is pretty much what you want. Now, the other option is to throw in some leucine. And that would mean 90 minutes within the 90 minutes after you finish your training, you could actually beef up the leucine to basically increase the muscle protein synthesis, to amplify that. So, yep. And that is pretty much how I would do it. And then within that, after an hour, I'll definitely start getting some protein into me as well after training. So, steak and eggs and that sort of stuff as much as you can. Some dairy products as well. Try and get some stuff in to provide a lot of the material to force up more muscle protein synthesis, which can last. If it's a lot of stuff to digest, it can take a bit longer, and it'll take quite a few hours to digest. And slowly, that will be basically then the sphincter at the bottom of your stomach will just release small amounts as they come through. They'll be absorbed into the gut, and then will provide an amino pool, a constant amino pool as you're building up. So, and you can actually sustain muscle protein synthesis under those circumstances out to 8 hours. When you take powders, they have a lower utilization, and you end up with more of that in the feces in the toilet, and not, because you can only take up so much utilize at any one moment, where when you're digesting real food, it digests over many hours, and you slowly get small amounts to absorb, to build, absorb and build, absorb and build. And that's the more natural way to build than these powders. So, well, that's my personal opinion anyway, and that's what the science has actually shown. So, not that you won't get some gains, but I think you get better quality protein and better quality muscle by using real food, like the old bodybuilders used to do. So, yes, but that's what I would do with utilizing taurine in that way to enhance the myostatin inhibition, and also to increase the level of performance and the level of fatty acid oxidation as well. So I've done a recent video. Hasn't anybody watched the recent video? Why haven't they watched it? Why isn't my video being watched? This is a recent one. How to increase post-exercise fat loss and enhance athletic performance. That's the one I'll put it in right now there for you. Go and check that video. That's a recent one that I did. That was on the 11th, only 2 days ago. And Bjorn sent me the sausage one. Bloody hell, mate. Come on, what? Doesn't have any audio, but anyway, so be it. You'll still get a bit of a laugh out of it. Oh, God. Oh, God. Nice one. Anyway, will fructose activate the Randle cycle in the same way as glucose since being handled by the liver? Yes, it can. It definitely can. It depends on physical activity, it depends on the amount, it depends on a lot of things. Even if you don't engage the Randle cycle, fructose is treated like alcohol. It will basically derange and cause inflammation and other problems. It also glycates, depending on its resident time. This is the important thing. So if it can glycate up to 7 times that of glucose, but if you're engaging the Randle cycle, it can potentially go up to 10 times. So research has shown different levels of glycation, but when I looked at the research, it seemed that depending on what the mixed diet, what the macros were of the diet, sort of indicated that it was some level of Randle cycle activation that meant the clearance out of the system was slower, so it had more time as a resident time to glycate, to cause glycation. So it is Randle cycle dependent glycation that happens with fructose. It's a bit of a nuanced thing that most people haven't looked at to understand. And on the other hand, that's why it can vary while we're getting varied results in research. That's the problem. Most people don't, let's say, they don't use their brain to think in a nuanced way. They just basically will sit there and argue, oh, this research is wrong or that research. No, look at the actual composition of the food that was being fed, and that will tell you what sort of activation of Randle cycle, especially when you look at the body composition of the people. So you can actually, height, because they do provide you like height, BMI, different things like that. And then you look at that and say, okay, what would that body require and what are they giving them? And then you say, well, they're not giving them sufficient, or they're giving them far more, excess or under, or just at the normal intake for normal for their sort of level, so they don't increase less. They don't have too much or too little energy in terms of that. So in that way, they are in this low grade non-activation. Obviously, they're going to have better clearance, which means you'll only get 7 times the glycation. And other dietary approaches where they've added a bit more, you could say, the fuel element. They've actually had the standard and then added that on top, which sort of magnifies it. Not only increases the energy component, but it also magnifies, as a consequence, the Randle cycle activation type thing. So then these things are, say, having higher resident time, they can glycate for longer. So that's where the difference is, why the studies are inconsistent in terms between 7 and 10 in what the level of glycation factors. But if you do a bit of research, you'll actually understand why this is happening when you take into consideration the Randle cycle, which these people don't do because they don't understand it. So it depends on, so if I was just to have pure fructose for the day, no, it would not engage the Randle cycle, and I would only glycate 7 times. But if I had it with animal fats and other things, yes, I would engage the Randle cycle, especially if I got into excess levels. So it always nuanced in that regard. in his recent video, Bart said to not eat more than 2 grams of protein per kilo. Why seems stupidly low? I don't know. No idea. I have no idea. Don't ask me. It may have been in the relationship. I think it was Lane Norton in relationship to other things that he eats. And if you go and there is a certain level of threshold where you've put quite a bit of protein with sugar, and you can actually create Randall cycle activation and mTOR, overexpression of mTOR and other things. So maybe he was commenting in regards to that person, because he knows quite well. We did a video together, collaboration, but the Sand people, and they consume 3.92 grams per kilo body weight. So it's a non-issue. Especially if you're in low insulin, in a low insulin state, an insulin to glucagon. But obviously, you still need a certain level of fat. You just can't basically, otherwise you end up in rabbit starvation. So that's another nuance element to it. But I can't remember exactly in what context he said it. Because I've already done a video, and he would agree with me on that sugar cannot be turned into, it's demand driven. Him and me agree. Protein is demand driven in terms of sugar. Not an issue there either. So I think it may be in regards to, if you're basically activating the Randall cycle, activating these growth pathways, and also increasing insulin, you're locking out the other energy source. So under those circumstances, too much of that protein can be converted to potentially to sugar and can be an issue. And if it's in regards to what Leigh Norton promotes under those circumstances, see, remember, Bart's a bit of a high-functioning autistic person and tend to see things black and white. So when he argues, he'll argue the opposite for that person and not nuance or explain what he means in regards to the diet that person's doing, rather than, and I'll give you an example. When we look at research of low-fat diets that Walter Kempner was doing back in the 1930s, he was actually putting people on low protein, low fat, high carbohydrate in order to disengage Randall cycle and actually achieve something similar in terms of reducing those growth factors. But it's not sustainable because it's a nutrient deficient diet that eventually, like the vegan diet, is a constant fasting. It's a fasting mimicking diet, which is unhealthy to do long term. But if you're doing a high sugar diet, you need to bring the protein down, maybe even lower than 2 grams, because it can become a problem. So if he's meaning it in that sense, yes, is a good argument. But in the low carbohydrate, you've probably heard him in other videos where he said, some people talk about using sugar because they're not getting, they're eating fat, and they don't feel like they need sugar, like to get that to function properly. And he goes, well, all you need is just to up the protein. And you've heard him say that as well. But he's saying it in a different circumstance where somebody's in a low carbohydrate, ketogenic type carnivore-ish state. Under those circumstances, you need more. When you have no carbohydrate, you need more protein. When you have more carbohydrate, more protein can be a problem in terms of these growth pathways being over-exaggerated. That's the sort of difference. So he needs to explain it a bit better when he's criticizing Lane Norton, but he's going off on he's on a polemic state. And when he's on a polemic state, he's not nuancing some of this stuff. I'm giving you the nuance, because otherwise you'll hear him in other videos saying you're not getting enough protein. You need to up your protein. That'll eliminate your requirement for sugar. So in that sense, he'd be contradicting himself, but he's talking in a completely different state of affairs. Most of my stuff that I discuss in terms of low carbohydrate, ketogenic, carnivore-ish diet. When I do talk about the other diets, the low-fat diets, which he does polemic videos against most of the time, That's completely different. That he's talking about people that are doing these mixed diets and all that, and their excess growth activation of IGF-1 and stuff like that can be a problem. So to criticize, say you're taking in too much lane with the stuff that you're doing. So it's all a bit nuanced in that regard. But in the end, if you've basically got a question, you should direct it to Bart, not me, because he needs to explain this. Oh God, they never finish. They never stop. Those two. I can't win, can I, Bjorn? Well, I'm a really bad cheating person. I need to be spanked. Let's move on before I say anything more inappropriate. Oliver Bart said that it was a minimum amount, not on upper limit. Okay, yeah. I can't remember what he. It was a while ago. I just was enjoying him having a go at Lane. I wasn't following the details, but I've heard him say other things about up your protein if you're not getting enough protein. He criticizes people getting too low protein. So yeah, he may have meant that. Because I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and actually listen to it to basically make sure I understood what he said. I would say so. I would say so, my dear. I would say so. No, you wouldn't. That was my Saturday. I came back from my long walk. We went all over the place. And then we came back and sat down, had some big juicy steaks and had a couple of gins. So, yes, very different. I wasn't operating on anyone. I'm a vodka guy myself. I don't mind vodka. I used to drink vodka as well. I've been drinking it lately just to provoke people. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I suspect when people say, "Do you want vodka?" Da. Yes, in Russian. Do you want whiskey? Niet. Yeah, it could provoke people. Yeah, it could. Yeah, it was on Lane. Yeah, exactly. Mate, when we're watching Lane, I'm sitting there laughing. We're sitting there laughing, and we're not focusing on detail. Sometimes I've actually spoken to Bart other times when he does some of these videos. Sometimes he looks back and I go, "You said that?" No, did I? So yeah, they're attack videos. They're more basically to have fun, poke fun at some of these idiots and what they're saying. So yeah. And as I said, on those videos, he's not nuancing anything. He's got another channel where he does a lot of sciencey stuff and he explains things about the Randall cycle and all sorts of things. And he goes through in detail about different things. That's where he puts his suit on and actually does a professional science type role. So if you want to go and see those videos, that's a different kettle of fish. It's all biochemistry and physiology. So it's actually proper stuff. The stuff that he does on his main channel is all attack videos against, Ray Peep type people, crackpots like Lane Norton to support plant-based agendas and CICO, calories in, calories out nonsense. Yes, people that like to consume heat, that sort of those sort of crackpots. So yeah. Yeah, I don't focus on the details. I focus on the laughter. I find that I don't get a hangover on Carnivore, but I get cramps in my feet the other day after I drink. Yeah, because basically you've done two things. You reduce your taurine levels you've in your system, you've also depleted your B vitamins, and you've also lowered your choline levels, and that's why. And so some of your electrolytes are going to be slightly out of whack as a consequence, because taurine is the osmolyte regulator of all the fluids. So once you actually get taurine in, what it does is it sorts out electrolytes and you don't get cramps. Well, that's the reason. So you're depleting those things due to, because remember, taurine's going to taurine, methionine, because methionine goes from methionine to cysteine down to taurine. So if you're basically using those methyl donors for clearing out all the inflammation from the drinking, yes, there's going to be less of that for other things. Priorities: get rid of the poison that you've just swallowed. Oops. Okay. Sparkling water. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of sparkling water. I'm sort of, I enjoy spring, just standard spring water. Alex tends to have a very sensitive, gut system, and he does notice a difference. So he's noticed a lot of difference between the Nature's Life one and some of the other brands, and that's why he goes back to Nature's Life. And most people that I've recommended to have noticed similar things. So I use it as well, and I tend to basically gravitate people towards it as well. So behave herself. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I gave up a long time ago. Completely gave away up a long time ago. There are, even with pure stuff, the quality, it can be 99 point something percent, or it can be slightly less and have more other, maybe not clean enough. And some people can be a bit sensitive to some of the other compounds. So there is a bit of difference. Some people notice it more than others. And that one, Nature's Life, is actually a very competitive price. So sausage is expensive. I thought so too, but it isn't. Nature's Life is completely different. I have had two different manufacturers, pure taurine. Yep. Yeah. Look, I myself also, I've noticed that I did try some other brand once, and I was struggling to resolve my gallbladder issues and stuff like that. And then I switched to this, and I actually saw quicker results and much better results. So, and that's why I've stuck to it. Like Alex, he's seen the same thing, the effect. And the reason why I've recommended it to other people is because I got really good results. So I promoted it. I said, yep, if you're going to get something that actually seems to work and works quite well. So it's actually much closer to the stuff that you find inside the meat of and the flesh of animals. And so they've really got good production, good quality production in the US, and seem to have really worked out some of the intricacies in making it as close a free form as you find in the natural form. So it's the best artificial one that I've come across, pretty much. And yes, and Alex has had similar experiences like me, so I'm convinced that it is better. Unless Alex and me are both having a placebo effect, maybe. Get it right, woman. Roy's the name. Get it right. Or not all floppy. Well, that's what we use L-citrulline, my dear. We use L-citrulline as a vasodilator, so it's not too floppy. There is Big Barbie Bangers on show. Yum. Getting hungry again. Randall sausage. Yes. It's the apple tree. Yes. The one the snake said, take it. Yes. It's that type of sausage, apple tree. Yes. Yeah, we did. That was a while back. That was when we had to go up there and mask and everything at that time. That was a bit weird. Anyway, even though they were outdoors. Crazy times. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, you're right. Which reminds me, I need to go a quick run to the shop so I can attempt to score myself another big French chook. Good for you. Have fun getting another big chook at half price, I hear. Very good, very good. Yep. Anybody knows it's up north of northern Tasmania, Tamar. Very nice area, picturesque, very nice. Got a beautiful river system up there called the Tamar River. It must be. If I put it down to the alcohol, it's probably the alcohol. It is a plant-based compound. It's probably causing me brain fog. I'll put it down to that. And there's the website. Okay, I even tried a cat variety of taurine. Springfield is a cat food. Okay. So it gave you good results as well. You've confused her. And now, she's got the sexual innuendo in her mind. Oh, they're in a car park. What are they doing? We were buying sausages. What? I wasn't soliciting. I accept nothing but garlic and smoked paprika in my sausages. Actually, they do have. Hello Kitty actually got one which is a smoked paprika. What was the other thing that they had in? I can't remember. It was smoked paprika with something else. Was it garlic or not? I think it was garlic. I can't remember now. Do you remember? What was it? Hello Kitty, are you still there or have you gone away? You abandoned me with these people. Don't encourage Tracy. Don't encourage her. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm going to get into trouble in these conversations. Move on. Will taurine help you in any way if you had a night of no sleep? Yes, it will. It definitely will. Blue light blocking is a real good thing to block blue light. That will help increase that. What taurine does is it modulates cortisol. It brings the cortisol levels down to normal range and it actually amplifies and increases due to GABA A in the brain. It increases through the pituitary gland. It increases basically melatonin and improves sleep. So when people have quite a bit at night in combination with melatonin, it enhances melatonin and actually makes you more drowsy. So it makes it easy to fall asleep, basically. And if you basically, like Dean, another one of my subscribers, he had 4 years of not being able to sleep, insomnia for 4 years. He now takes a high dose of taurine, I think about 6 grams, I think, and a small dose melatonin, and it knocks him out. I'm not kidding you, knocks him out. So where he was doing the melatonin, the small dose of melatonin wasn't having the effect. Then he added in the taurine, and it amplified the effect of. So he moved his taurine intake from middle of the day, which I was doing for lifting stuff and all that, to the evening, and he's amplified that effect. So, yeah, really interesting stuff. So experiment on dosages of taurine. Go 2 grams, then 4 grams, then 6 grams, and see where the level is required to amplify sufficiently to get you to become drowsy and easy to sleep. Yeah. And sometimes as well, there can be other methylation issues. I've found that some people will overuse taurine in their liver, will use too much taurine because there are things that they are methylating away. There could be xenoestrogens. There could be a number of things. Under those circumstances, if it's not responding, I would throw in 2 grams of choline. So CHOLINE, choline. It's in eggs. You'll find it. It's very high in eggs. One egg's got about 147 milligrams. So that would require quite a few eggs, but that's one of your highest sources. But what it does is choline is really good for a lot of things, neurotransmitters, you name it, a lot of things. But it also is the second methylation pathway, which means that it reduces the requirements for the other methyl donors, which means it can actually do the work and give the other methyl donors, make them available for other things. So sometimes you sort of have to throw in the extra choline, methylate away any stuff and sort it out, and then basically allow the other methyl donors to be provided for this other stuff, like more GABA A in particular, and other things like that. So yeah, it's a matter of playing around a bit until you get it right for yourself. What are you? Cheesy. It's cheesy, my dear. It's cheesy. Like me. Yes, yes. And the snake to go to boot. Anyway, they actually sound amazing. Yes, they are. They are. We found some really good stuff. Rhymes with Randall. Everybody's a comedian today. Do I do a week of one of fresh cabbage juice daily for a week for H. pylori? It's absolutely crushes H. pylori. Yeah, give that a try as well. You got nothing to lose. I have heard that it does assist in that regard. It's sort of like it helps because it's a bit of an acidifier as well. Cabbage juice, for some reason, it helps with acidification. So that may be working. With taurine, you can amplify that. So get to improve the thing overall. Nothing wrong with trying additional things. At the end of the day, what we want is resolution of things. So make yogurt with L-reuteri. Yep, that's what NecroKitty does. Yeah, she does that. Yeah, she does pretty much that. I think she's at that on the Discord. They had a thing for how to do it yourself type thing, from what I remembered. Yes. So if you need to get it now early before the Discord, because they're about to transition to a new thing because Discord has gone all woke on them and pretty much they may take it down any time. So, and they've got until the end of this month, the 28th. So even Bart's desperate to try and find a different platform with the guys. So hopefully Luke Gear and NecroKitty can find a new place for Discord. Hopefully. So if anybody knows any other options, do get in contact with Luke Gear, yeah, or NecroKitty, one of the two, whoever you know better. Yeah, actually contact NecroKitty. She's really got a good recipe. I spoke to her once, and she basically, yeah, she's got a whole lot of things, yeah, set up and everything. So get in contact with her. She'll give you the ins and outs, so to speak. Okay, I don't mind the taste of very effective at killing H. pylori, more effective than triple antibiotic treatment. Definitely than that, and with minimal, yeah, definitely doesn't have the side effects. Combine it with, yep, yeah, good idea. But also combine it with taurine to get the best results. Taurine fixes the acidity of the stomach and usually suppresses H. pylori as well. Yeah, that's all right. You can watch the rest later on. Take care. Yeah, it's a regulator. It's just one of those regulators that will regulate anything. It's like even the motility of your intestine, how fast that goes, it regulates it. If it's too fast, it slows it down. If it's too slow, it speeds it up. It's a master regulator. It's one of the most ancient of ancient molecules in cells, in organisms, that regulates fluids, all sorts of systems. Half the stuff we know mechanistically that it does work, but we don't know why and, exactly. There's still a lot of question marks on it. I've got a few hypotheses of my own, but yeah, that's for another day. That would be a long, long conversation, probably take more than an hour to go through all the reasons why. But you're welcome. I'm asking about bifidus because I've been taking Reuteri and vitamin D for a month, but don't seem to get rid of my post-nasal drip. Okay. Well, Ruteri can help, and vitamin D can help, but taurine's going to help as well for that. I believe I did. You did ask me last time, and I did mention that to take taurine in as well. So I'm sure I did say taurine as well, because it does help with those tight junctions. Remember, those nasal, hairline structures and all that, how they behave and all that, if they've been damaged, it actually, you need taurine to fix that. I did a recent video on it, which was on the gut ones within the gut. What did I call it? What did I call it? God, so many videos. I'm losing track of it. Yeah. Can leaky gut be cured? There it is. That was 3 days ago. That was a video talking about, because basically those areas are within your mucosal layers. So check that video out. Pretty much is applicable to your condition as well. And as it can have histamine effects, and also taurine actually fixes those histamine effects. And I do mention that in this video as well. So you've been taking taurine as well. So I don't think it's histamine. Okay. So how much have you been taking? Next time, on Monday, I should pop in the actual Zoom thing. Drop in, have a chat with me. Let's try and get to the bottom of it, because it's much easier just talking and me asking you questions. At the moment, it's really hard going from question to question. So drop in and have a chat with me. That'll to resolve it. We'll put in the sky is mosquitoes. You've got on good authority, Tracy. You got good connections. Oops, that was all that other stuff. Hold on, wasn't there a gap in between that? I thought there was on this. Oh God, must have missed it or whatever. Dolly Parton will sing Taurine's song next week in a duet with Roy. Taurine, 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 Taurine. I'll have to work out the other words. G'day, Nick. What about creatine? Its production decreased with age. I take some recently as a supplement. Experience way more energy. Exactly. You will. Dad takes, he's 87. He takes 3 grams a day. I do about the same. And yes, I enjoy the extra energy that it gives me as well. So yeah, not a problem. The old boy loves it. He goes down and buys that Planet Max, which is one of the bodybuilding places. They know him. He goes down, he gets his creatine there. I get a German one, which is a really good one. I'll just show you which one, because I can't remember off the top of my head to Google it. It's called Gentech. Mm-hmm. So this is the brand that I get. Pretty much no gluten-free. That obviously because they're pharmaceutical grade, they're all vegan friendly. No artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners. So there's no sweeteners, no crap in there. 100% pure pharmaceutical grade, high bioavailability, HPLC tested. Where's the back side of it? What are they doing? Oh. Not what I want. Yeah, down at Planet Max, they had the brochure that actually had where they were sourcing it from, which was, here it is. Premium brand of creatine worldwide is manufactured exclusively in Germany. So this brand, Crepure, which is which comes manufacturing creatine. No other brand combines the three pillars of quality: careful selection of raw material, high performance technology thanks to sophisticated processing engineering using GMP conditions, precise chemical analysis to basically get really good quality stuff. Anyway, so that is it. People want to get it. So that's the one that I get for myself and for Dad. So we both, that's what we use. But this is an Australian brand, Gentech. I've got no idea what it's called in Europe because they import this. But if you look for that Creep Pure, so that's what you have to Google. So if you Google that, Creep Pure, you'll find whatever brand in Europe actually carries it, has a licensing with this company, this German company. So this is an Australian company, Gentech, that buys it. the product from Germany and then puts it, and basically what they do is they put it in these containers, and they get it in big bulk containers. They put it in these small containers and sell them. So actually I'm a bit on the low side, so I may need to get some. It's pretty much got a 3 gram scoop, and that's what I do, a 3 gram scoop. Where was I? Yeah, with Nick. Yep. So yeah, that's the I mean, I've taken more in the past where I've done like sort of creatine loading, but you know, nowadays I just take 3 grams. The old man takes 3 grams, and we do the same thing. So don't complicate it too much. Unless you want to become a big bodybuilder, you're trying to perform and all that. That other stuff with, you know, that I did that video recently, also to provide some for people that are in competition, people that are basically how they can try and actually use taurine to maximize their performance. So I'm just trying to basically just live a bit longer, healthy and stuff like that. As a, you know, I'm not trying to win any medals. So I've heard Elliot suggest people take some high oxalate foods like dark chocolate if they have persistent diarrhea to slow down dumping. Yep. You can also take coffee, which has got a bit of oxalate, to do the same thing. Yep, you can do that. I think Bart's mentioned that as well, and I've sort of mentioned it as well, but it doesn't resolve the issue. What it does is it masks it and slows it down. So sometimes it's, I did it myself to cope because I was just getting too much foaminess, and you know, so I actually had to slow it down, then start it up again and do the same thing. I did go through a period of, you know, let's say a lot of dumping, which was not very pleasant, to say the least, and a lot of kidney pain as well. And that's why when I upped my taurine levels as well to repair the kidney damage. So any plans of doing strict meat and fat for a time, Harry? Not yet. Not yet. In winter, I do plan to do in winter and do a bit of a cut. Yeah, so I am planning then. Hello Kitty keeps on saying, you know, exactly the same thing. You know, all these liquid fats and cheats and stuff like that. She goes, "What are you gonna?" I said, "Look, I'm gonna do it this winter. I'll put the stuff that I actually dish out to other people to do to get their sort of levels, and they are getting the results. I'll apply those things as well. But yeah, at the moment it's holiday season with my friends and all that. I'm enjoying myself. I've had a lot of stress being, you know, going through a lot of shit, and with work, potentially losing my job. Now it's all sorted, so I'm not fearing that. I'm much more, my stress levels have come down. But, you know, I'm just not motivated at the moment to really go strict. I just felt that I went through all this, you know, a lot of us have gone through all this stressful, strict type thing. And at the moment, I'm just letting my hair down, and I'm not really interested in doing anything strict at the moment, pretty much. So, but I will basically do it, and I will be taking higher doses of taurine, you know, and trying to amplify myostatin inhibition, couple of other things, and I'll do videos later on about that stuff when I start doing some of that stuff. Because the current one, that sort of is a partial. Remember, I did one on bodybuilding, my first video, and this is sort of a second one, which is, you know, with myostatin, you know, and using taurine and stuff like that for performance and stuff like that. But there was a couple of other things that I wanted to do, but I just haven't got around doing them. And there's a few niggly questions that I want to research properly, just to know, you know, I'm a bit like that. I like to have as close a definitive. I know it's not possible to be definitive about everything, but I have a sort of, I'm my worst critic in terms of quality control. So even though I tell people to do something they don't follow, and then they get into trouble, like with a boron and other things, I'm my biggest critic. that I didn't explain it properly. I didn't do it right, in that regard. So I do this channel to help people, not to put them in harm's way. I'd rather not tell them anything rather than tell them things that, so I need to be very careful in that regard. It's just a rule that I live by. I know a lot of other people don't, because they like the clickbait stuff and all that, get it out there. For me, it's more important to get it right rather than get the clicks. I hope that people will appreciate the work that I do and give me the clicks. One can only hope. Jonathan. Oh, well, why not? Why not say hello? Both the links are posted here for the history. That's yeah. You worked that out anyway. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was about that. I know I've done a bit higher. This is look. I gave this also to Hello Kitty, and she was struggling. She couldn't do it. She went back to lemon juice. Some people just don't like the taste and all that. What I do is I'll put it in water and I'll just swallow it immediately as fast as possible. I don't think about it. It's not like, let me zip it. No, just go full hatch down. Don't go slow. It's not, some people don't really like that sort of acidic, soury type, they just don't like it. So, I mean, for me, I can actually eat a raw lemon like that, so it doesn't affect me as much. But still, even for me, and the best way is just to down the hatch quicker. Why sit around thinking about it? You just do it. I always say to people, like when I do my tour and all that, some of the stuff, it's when I put all the different, like creatine and all that, and I sort of stir it together and drink it. It's not a really fantastic tasting thing, but I don't put a lot of water, and I stir it, and I just down the hatch quickly. I put a bit of extra Evian, the water that I buy, the spring water. I put a bit of extra. I'll quickly move around the cup to basically stir it, and then down the hatch that, and done. I don't sit around thinking about it too much. I just want to get it in as fast as possible. That's the best way. In that way, you don't end up with these sort of difficulties, or the people anyway. My dear Llama, yes. You need a bit of artificial. Oh God, trying to remember the brand. I'll put a link at the end of this video. Off the top of my head, I can't remember it. I have to find it. It's one that who did I? Was it Jared, or I can't remember now. It's a while ago that. I'll find out. I'll have to search my email to find out, because I just can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put a link at the end of this video. I'm not going to do it tonight, because once I shut down, I'm just going to go relax and then go to bed. But tomorrow morning, sometime in the tomorrow, so in probably 12 hours from now, I'll put a link under the and I'll pin it in the comments, and you can get it there. But you need the taurine to amplify it, and you don't want it too much, because you want the body to naturally produce its own. And taurine does that. It increases GABA A, which increases through the pituitary gland. It produces more melatonin. But these sort of things, blue blocking glasses, also help reduce the amount of, raising of, blue light tends to raise cortisol. And that's where taurine sort of brings down to the normal levels. But you need to basically help cortisol by, minimizing blue light, sort of help taurine to minimize the blue light, so to get better results. People are far too exposed to blue light. Yeah, the excess can be. That's true. Yeah, the excess can be in that regard. I take about a gram. I was taking about a gram each time. So, don't know. I'm not. I know that excess can be in some cases, but usually I was getting relief anyway at 1 gram. So I was doing 1 gram early in the day and 1 gram in the sort of evening. So that's what I was doing, and it did reduce my foaminess and all that, and cleared a lot of that up after a couple of days. So it depends. Some people may actually. It depends on the genetics. It depends on a number of factors as well. So the other thing with the lemon juice is you just want the juice. You don't want any of the the pulp, because some of the pulp actually has some oxalate in it. So just keep that in mind if you're using the lemon juice option. Ah, we are fine. We are fine. We are merry. We are enjoying ourselves. Rivers only flood if see the clouds with their chemtrails. I think naturally they do rain. Yeah, the whole east coast. Yeah, I know, had flooding. That's why some of those river systems could be rediverted over. And there was a project all the way back. I forget the name of the guy. I think his first name was Harry. There you go. Very good name. In the early part of the 20th century, we're talking about 100 years ago, and this guy came up with a plan to basically deflood the east coast of Australia and move a lot of that water over the Blue Mountains. So, and today it's actually we could do it. It wouldn't cost us as much, and it would actually give us far more better results. Ah, okay. Gotcha. My dirty brain went to other things when I heard fingers. Harry, kidney stones can form from uric acid alone, or it needs an oxalate crystal to start it form around it with uric acid. It doesn't necessarily need to be oxalate, but it does happen with oxalate, and it does happen with some calcium, but it usually is a derangement of the urea cycle that usually causes, and it's usually excess fructose that causes some of these problems, as well as the crystals in your periphery, which is basically gout and stuff like that. So it tends to be a derangement when it's that. But to a large extent, uric acid can also be the cycle can also be deranged by oxalate as well, very much so. So we've never been able to prove mechanistically that uric acid alone mechanistically. There's no research that actually proves mechanistically, that is, cause and effect. We've seen people that have got very high uric acid and very lower uric acid levels actually form kidney stones. So I don't think there is, while there may be a relationship, I don't think there is an actual causal reason. Because there is the Bradford Hill criteria. If something increases or decreases in intensity, then you should see the effects, the side effects that produces. So if you increase uric acid, you should see more kidney stones in the population. If you decrease uric acid, you should see less kidney stones. But that isn't the case. So it does not fulfill, that means in a dose response, it does not correlate tightly within that parameter. Like tobacco, the Bradford Hill criteria, so many odds ratio of 10 to 30, and it fulfills that. As you increase, the issues worsen. As you decrease tobacco consumption, the conditions lessen that are related to tobacco consumption. So there is a dose-dependent relationship. So we don't see that with kidney stones and uric acid. But I suspect it probably is a slight derangement due to fructose, which fructose then affects the ability for the body to recycle and remove through the kidneys correctly, and it tends to basically then interact at a certain way that we don't really understand with oxalates and with calcium, and can create these stones and form these stones. So again, this is another thing where there's not enough taurine, because taurine also regulates calcium metabolism. So if calcium metabolism is slightly deranged, well, you start getting this problem as well. So it's a complicated picture. But one thing that we do notice is that high oxalate, the majority of kidney stones are related to high oxalates. Myself, I'm a kidney stone former, somebody that forms kidney stones very easily. But it was only when I got onto high oxalate foods in my ketogenic days, 5 years of very low carbohydrate with a lot of green leafy vegetables, 4 kidney stones in 5 years. Prior to that, nothing. Post that, nothing. You want to cause and effect, pretty much once I got rid of the spinach, the high oxalate stuff, so did my kidney stones go away. So is there a very strong, tight relationship in terms of naturalistic observation of an N of 1 in my case? Yes, and many other N of 1s. So I've never had kidney stones prior to that, and I never had kidney stones. Even on a SAD diet, I didn't have kidney stones. I had no kidney stones on a SAD diet, and which still has a certain type of a certain level of oxalate and other anti-nutrients. On an animal-based diet, nothing. The only time is when I started consuming a lot of green leafy vegetables, that I ended up with, over 5 years, I ended up basically with 4 bouts of. So yeah, I would say, yeah, in my relationship, very well correlated as a stone former, genetically more predisposed. So yes. Oops, don't go away. Oh, damn, get back. Playing up. Silly me, supermarket doesn't open till on Sunday. This is great, because that means I can still be first in line, reduced French chook. If there are any, well, if you leave now, you'll be outside and before the stampede turns up. Where'd I put that link? I had a link. Now. Yes, it is. You may get a very small amount that survives, but most of it is pretty much like vitamin C. Pretty much, yes. Hello, how are you? How can you know where you are in the transition period into carnivore, when to cut all carbs and plants? Also, do you still need transition if one eats only raw meats? Probably not. Raw meat people tend to actually transition much better for the simple reason that the taurine content. Now, you don't necessarily have to do raw meat. You can actually supplement taurine like we've been talking. The problem is nowadays when we do freshly killed animals, we don't consume them. We hang them up and dry them, and they lose a lot of their fluids and lose a lot of their taurine, which does the magic in fixing up and regulating everything in the gut, the stomach, and everywhere else. So that's usually the problem. It also reduces things like histamines and stuff like that. So that's for a video I'm hoping I'll have out next week. So yes. Now, in terms of transition time, it can vary between people and all that. Basically, just take things out. Just slowly take things out every week. Take out another plant, reduce until you feel comfortable in your transition. You'll know. So, but just take out proportions. I usually recommend to people taking out, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it anyway, just reducing, if you're having, let's say, as an example, 120 grams of carbohydrates of plants, and you reduce it to 8 to 90, then 80, then 70, over a couple of weeks, and then go down after that, after 2 weeks, go down further and all that. That's up to you. Other people, I just tell them, just take one thing out. So they may be doing a number of things and they go, okay, that plant, no more. And they just shrink the amount of plants, and then eventually they eliminate them completely. So it's really up to, and you don't have to eliminate, herbs and spices I still use. So that's plant material. So I don't think we ever get rid of everything. Some people decide to. It's their prerogative. I don't have a problem with that. And I consume a bit of raw meat now and then, but I do like cooked meat as well. Bert, how are you, my dear fellow? Morning, Roy. It's quite amazing, and heavy meat diet has caught on only recently. Ah, yes. It should how easily be all brainwashed. Yes. Things are bad out there. Things are bad. But our dear friend Trudeau in Canada would like to make things even worse. He wants to hold our bank accounts hostage, and he wants to teach us the proper, sensible way of eating kibble, that is. Yes. Oh, well, they would get a benefit down there if we actually redirected that flood water in the other direction. So they'd be happy. They probably need it. Some of the actual river system in the Murray-Darling has turned into battery acid, because it's so all the actual salts have come up and actually have turned the water and the area there into battery acid. It's so acidic. It's just freaking crazy. So yeah, it could do with a bit more water from elsewhere. Spirage and Salad Boy are brothers now. Really? Very agree with Salad Boy in everything except on salt, because it's a rock in his opinion, and cooked meat because it causes cancer. Oh, what? What a crackpot. Oh, God. We've only been cooking it now for 1.5 million years. What stupid nonsense. And those little bits of carbon, graphene or whatever, the different varieties of that little burnt stuff, the body can eliminate that through our detoxification pathways with no problems whatsoever. And it's so little, it is absolutely irrelevant. So complete and utter nonsense. But I'm not surprised that basically those two crackpots have gone together. So yeah, not surprised at all. Thanks about that. Do let I think there's another person, Bart K, that would love to know about that. So do let him know, because yeah, he'll have a field day. God almighty. Oh, that is funny. But it doesn't entirely surprise me, DJ Projectus. It doesn't entirely. I lost 25 kilos following, but I lost muscle mass exactly. That leads me to Carnivore via Gundry interview with Salad Boy. Yeah, look, I mean, many people found their way in different ways and all that. But yeah, it's because it's a fasting mimicking diet, the Gundry protocol. That's why you lose weight. It's basically a plant-based fasting mimicking diet, no different than the Londo, that guy, that researcher that does those protocols for that talks about mTOR all the time. Yeah, so again, a fasting mimicking diet, but you can't live on a fasting mimicking diet forever. It's just ridiculous. So the protein's too low, very unhealthy, long term. Trouble. I have 3 grams, and I think I will transit this mortal corpse soon. Are you floating? It's an Animal Farm reference from Chapter X. So just so you get it. Oh, is that what it is? Learn beyond the letter B. Okay. Okay, from Animal Farm. Okay, Llama. I get you. Well, you were vegan in the past. Horses were fine, upstanding beasts, willing workers, and good comrades, but none of them proved able to learn the alphabet beyond the letter B. They accepted everything that they were told. Ah, yes. Oh, yeah, that's right, because you had the other thing about compliance, being very good at compliance, yes. Yeah, the brain-fogged vegans basically can't get past the letter B as well. Yeah, there's a bit of truth in that. Yes. Interesting. You mentioned you used lemon not on steak. No, I keep on telling people not on steak. Pork, only on pork and fish. And on pork, I just put lemon juice. On fish, I put butter, let it melt, and then I put or combine butter with melted butter with lemon juice and with some herbs, and use it as a garnish for my fish. So either way is, yeah, but only I don't like lemon juice on steak, on beef steak. So beef steak is none. It's only on pork and white fish primarily, but even some other seafood, but primarily white fish. So in the way that I sort of do it. Seeing that meat and animal fat is quite low in vitamin A, I'm wondering if consuming high amounts of liver, eggs, dairy not being optimal. There are also foods not available in abundance amongst all evolution. Oh, we always got a bit of vitamin A, and when tribal people cut up an animal, they would cut up little bits of the liver, little bits of the organs, and share them amongst themselves. So they were getting a small multivitamin every day. So because there were interglacial, there were not non-interglacial periods, but glacial periods where there were no other plants or anything. So you had to get the vitamin. You couldn't convert it from, carotenoids. So in that regard, you were reliant 100% on animal sources, and people basically got it either from fish, like cod liver, which was a number of these countries. That's why their carotenoid conversion dropped to nothing. But even if you've got carotenoid conversion, if you're not consuming any vitamin A, you still need to get it. I get it from eggs. Eggs are a very good source of vitamin A. And I have occasionally a bit of liver. I have, pate, liver pate, at least once a week. But I'm not consuming like massive amounts in that regard. And the only reason I do consume, and remember, if you've got fat stores, you will have some retinol stored away as well. So your body, it takes a long while before your body will run low on vitamin A. It's only if you go excessively high on vitamin B, you can run your stores down, because it's a cofactor for a lot of things. So where vitamin A is used in a lot of enzymes, as vitamin D is also a cofactor, or the other way around, to each other, plays primary or secondary role. So you still need, but we do have stored stuff in the liver. And obviously as carnivores, depending on what we're eating and all that, it can vary seasonally as well. Our health situation, if we get sick or in a skin infection or whatever, our vitamin A requirement goes up. If we don't, it doesn't go up. It stays stored in our fat cells and in our livers. So it really depends. And if you've got healthy liver, it's not going to end up in your bloodstream. If you've got fibrotic damaged liver, which is what modern people have in many cases, it's much harder to store retinol and can become a problem. So it's much more nuanced in that regard. So it's not, and humans did consume. Yeah, I know that Stefansson said they didn't consume any organ meats in that regard, but they didn't need to. They consumed a lot of the seal fats and other fats from whales, which is much higher in vitamin A, in retinol. So they didn't have to. And they consumed certain fish as well, like cod and stuff like that. So they got it from other sources. So it's not completely and all that. Now, there are carotenoids inside muscle meat, and they can be converted to retinol as well. So if you've got good carotenoid capacity, yeah. But as I said to you as well, why I disagree with paleomedicina, I don't believe in high doses of vitamin A are required on a carnivore diet, as humans. But we do require a bit. We do require some. And if we have extra and we've got healthy livers and healthy adipose tissue, we store the excess. So it's not a problem. The only time it becomes a problem is when you're actually just pumping it in like there's no tomorrow, or you're not getting, for a very long period, hardly any. So that's the problem. Humans basically would have eaten a bit of organ meat here and there. Occasionally they would have cut. You see it with tribal people. They always cut a bit and actually have it like a multivitamin. So we've always got a bit from different sources, but not excessive amounts. That's the only difference. Like people have this nose to tail, they go crazy on liver, or they basically consume nothing other than muscle meats and all that, which may be fine for most people, especially if people have carotenoid conversion capacity. But if people have poor carotenoid conversion capacity, like the Irish and people like that, then you probably need a bit more retinol in the diet. And that's how they used to get it, from cod liver, so it wasn't causing them any problems until the modern era, when we deranged other things. So you need to be careful how we nuance things. It's not a black and white. It's somewhere more gray in the sense with our nutrients. And when you're biohacking, there, or you're trying to fix deficiencies, you may have to go a bit higher with certain things to a certain level, but without going crazy either. So we need to be very careful with these things. Thank you, Angela. Oops. Thank you, Angela. Good morning, lovely people. I'm just about to buy Harry a coffee and say thanks for recent profile video output. Prolific video output. We'll catch up later. Thanks, Angela. Appreciate it. Thanks for the extra. Yes, those ones. Yes. Actually, I need to take. There's a coffee shop that really makes these sort of cold coffees and all that. Been meaning to take Dad. I'll see if he wants to go tomorrow. Yes, that would be an opportunity. Now that I remembered, this guy's actually he buys all these variety of coffees from all over the world, and he filters them and makes these cold pressed coffees. They are absolutely really nice. I remember I went with my brother Sean one day, and we ended up having, I can't remember I think we had 8 coffees, and luckily I cleared them out of the system very fast. I was able to, it didn't affect my sleep, but I suspect anyone else it would have. But we really enjoyed those coffees, little shots and all that. Great. I definitely need to take the old man there. I think he would really, really enjoy it. Yeah, look, if you're getting enough and you've got some carotenoid conversion, it's not a requirement. I don't actually put like you must get organ meats in. There are some populations that have got some genetics where they can't convert carotenoids. They are very poor converters, like some of the Irish. I have some genetics. I'm about a 4%, which has with a choline issue. Most other people, if you eat muscle meat, you'll convert methionine to choline. I can't do that. I have to get it as choline. So I have to get it either in organ meats, or I have to get it in, eggs or stuff like that. So there are things that some people genetically are predisposed, require. They can't get it just from muscle meat alone. Majority of people can, but there are exceptions to the rule. I'm one of them in that regard. And I always make that clear. I differentiate myself with the general public, because I don't want to basically have people think that they require to do the same as me. I have some genetic requirements. So that it's to be quite clear. Anyway, I'm going to get to, because I'm about to pull the plug. It's about nearly 3.5 hours, 9:30 here. So, yeah, I know they're against dairy as well. I disagree with them completely. Raw dairy has been used for therapeutic reasons for a very long time. Yes, some people that do have dairy sensitivity, they shouldn't be consuming it. Some people, I mean, there is an African tribe in South Africa that doesn't have lactose-persistent genes. What they do is they ferment the dairy product, the milk, and get rid of all the sugar and turn it into a sour milk, and they consume that. So they have found a different method of dealing with that sort of issue. So, yep, very much true. But there are still a very tiny amount of people that are basically genetically I would say in the last couple of thousand years, I would say if that would be applicable to all humans in the past, mostly that. But some of us have lost certain conversion things, or changed or altered in certain ways. Some populations, like the Han Chinese, 76% of them don't even need to consume hardly any, if any, choline. They just endogenously produce it. Again, genetic things, pressures that have happened in the last couple of thousand years. So there are variations, obviously. So that's why I don't generalize on these things. Could spraying vitamin C in my mouth help some cope with nicotine addiction? No idea. I wouldn't actually. Too much vitamin C on a carnivore diet could lead to oxalates, or if such a placebo trick, but forward by some tricky. I don't know. I have no idea. Nicotine addiction. I know that basically taurine can help with nicotine addiction, and taurine can help with general addiction because because of the pathways that actually affects in the brain, like GABA and stuff like that, and reduces the excitatory parts of the brain, which lowers the addictive parts of the brain as well. So, but vitamin C, never heard of it. No, don't know. Do not know. I know I've put people on very high dose of taurine and reduced their addiction and allowed them to move away from addictive substances, but I've never heard of vitamin C as a spray helping with nicotine addiction. Don't know. Maybe it is placebo. At the end of the day, I actually, somebody asked me if I can get a placebo effect and actually stop doing something or consuming something and all that, would it be a good idea? I said, if it works, I just want you to get better. I'm not going to sit around, oh, it's not scientific. No, if it works, if you are very easily placebo affected, bloody hell, why not use it as an advantage? Some people are more susceptible to the placebo effect than others. If you are, why not? If you can get a benefit from it, I have no problems. I'm not going to sit there and lecture about science, doesn't say this or that. If you got a placebo effect, bloody hell, use it. Anyway, now I'm going to pull the pin because it's, and I'm getting drowsy. It's probably all the bloody taurine that I bloody had. But anyway, could be a placebo effect. So I'm going to pull the pin, guys. I need to get to relax. I've got a couple of things that I need to do before tomorrow, and then I'm going to do bugger all. I need a plan for tomorrow. That's the only thing, but I'll work that out in the morning. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I'll chat with everyone next week. There should be a couple of videos. Now, I've flexed off on Tuesday as well, so I'm 4 days. So tomorrow I'm doing bugger all, but on Tuesday I plan to do a couple of videos. I'm hoping I can do a plethora of videos from early in the morning right through to the evening, just, do a whole lot of different things. I'd like to catch up on a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of things that I have neglected that I haven't been able to catch up on. So I need to get some of those things done. I've fallen quite behind on my list. My list seems to get bigger and bigger. I need to try and actually slow it down because it's just getting so big. I've got so many folders now that I don't have a number in front of them because I put a number when I actually make a video, so I know it's the next one after that one of my videos. But there's actually about nearly 70, probably about 2/3 plus that are basically without a number in front. So I've got about double the videos that I've done. I've got double folders to do videos, which I haven't even touched yet. That's how far behind I am in videos. So there's shitloads that I have to do. So yeah, I am definitely looking forward to doing more and more of those. Oh, just noticed Bruce Lee's here. Yeah. Plantar warts. I think I've got a video on that. I think I've got a video. You'll have to wait. I'll keep you waiting. And I may even do it next week for you. There you go. That's called service. And thank you, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you, Bird, as well. Bjorn, oops. Control the damn thing, Harry. Bruce Lee, good to see you, mate. You're late. Dusters, mate. I'm about to shut the whole thing down. And Heather, always a pleasure. And thanks, guys, everyone that turned up. Alex, hello. And Jin. And good night to you as well, mate. Oh, yeah, exactly. He's doing all the dirty work. Yes, my sidekick. Yes, is asleep. You're welcome. You're welcome. Serpanos production next week. Yeah, I'm going to try and get a few things done through the Tuesday. So I'm going to do absolutely nothing tomorrow. I'm just going to relax, knock back, and just do bugger all. And then I'll see if Dad wants to go for a coffee. Go down to that coffee place. See if he wants to. And then on Tuesday, I'm just going to try and do a prolific run of videos and try and bring down my folders. So yes, if it works to plan exactly as I hope it does, there'll be a lot of stuff next week. Let's put it that way. Thanks, Nick. Anyway, take care, guys. Good night, and I will see you lovely people next week. Take care. See yous.